Chapter 81, Origin Academy. Huh, where the hell am I? Adam muttered, glancing around. One moment he was in his room, the next he was here. His eyes swept across the massive hall. Glowing runes pulsed beneath him, stretching out in intricate patterns across the floor. A teleportation circle. That must have been what dragged him here. But he wasn't alone. The place was packed with all kinds of beings. Some looked human, almost, but their unnatural eye colors, strange markings, or eerie auras set them apart. Others were straight-up beasts in humanoid form, fur-covered warriors with glowing eyes, reptilian figures with jagged scales, and even creatures that seemed pulled straight out of fantasy. Adam exhaled, cracking his neck. Well, this just got interesting. A low murmur filled the hall as Adam took a step forward, his sharp eyes scanning the crowd. The sheer pressure in the air was suffocating, an invisible force weighing down on everything like a storm waiting to explode. Some of these beings radiated terrifying power, their very presence making the air ripple. Others watched in silence, their expressions unreadable. Then, boom! A powerful shockwave erupted from the center of the hall, forcing many to brace themselves. Adam barely moved, his expression unfazed as the energy washed over him. A throne of obsidian and gold materialized at the far end of the room, and seated upon it was a towering figure, a being wreathed in cosmic flames, eyes like burning stars. The murmurs ceased. "Welcome, newcomers." The voice was deep, resonant, and absolute. "You stand before the Lords of Dominion." Adam clicked his tongue. "Lords, huh? That's supposed to mean something to me?" Several figures standing beside the throne narrowed their eyes at his casual tone. One of them, a massive guard clad in gleaming black armor, took a step forward, his voice like grinding metal. "Kneel." Adam raised a brow.
No.
The temperature in the hall dropped. Some flinched. Others looked on with amusement, clearly interested in what would happen next. The armored guard's aura surged, filling the space with an overwhelming gravity, pushing down on Adam like a collapsing mountain.
Adam siket.
Then, with a single step forward, crack. The gravity shattered. The guard's eyes widened. "What?"
Adam vaniset.
Then reappeared right in front of him. A fist slammed into the guard's chest plate. For a brief moment, silence. Then, boom! The guard was sent flying, crashing through the air like a meteor, obliterating the walls of the grand hall. Dust and debris exploded outward. Adam lowered his fist, his smirk growing. "You want to try that again?"
Adam derk.
The man on the throne spoke his name, his voice steady, almost amused. "Already making a statement, I see. You don't like being told what to do. You don't like being here. I get it." His burning gaze locked onto Adam. "Someone on the path to becoming a monarch would act just like you. That's why it's my privilege to welcome you to the Origin Academy." Adam crossed his arms, raising a brow. "Academy?" The man leaned forward slightly, his cosmic flames flickering. "A school, but not just any school. The Origin Academy is where the strongest in the universe gather. Gods, titans, celestials, abyssal lords, you name it. Every being here is either powerful or on the verge of becoming something beyond comprehension." His smirk widened. "And you? You've been chosen to join." Adam exhaled through his nose. "Yeah? And if I refuse?" The room fell silent for a moment. Then, "You don't." Adam's smirk twitched. "Figured." The man stood, his presence shaking the entire hall. "The academy isn't just a place to grow stronger. It's a battlefield. Every day, every moment you'll be fighting against others, against the universe itself. The weak don't survive here. Only the ones worthy of shaping the cosmos." He gestured to the others around them. "Look around. Every person in this room is either an apex predator or a rising monster. And now you're one of them." Adam glanced at the beings surrounding him, some staring with curiosity, others with pure hostility. A slow grin spread across his face. "Sounds fun." The moment Adam said those words, a wave of suppressed energy rippled through the hall. Some smirked, Others frowned. And a few? They looked at him like prey that had just stepped into a den of predators. The man on the throne let out a deep chuckle, the cosmic flames around him flaring up. Good. I was hoping you wouldn't disappoint. He raised his hand, and suddenly, boom! A massive gate behind him split open, revealing an endless sky filled with floating islands, towering structures, and battle arenas that stretched as far as the eye could see. The sheer scale of it was overwhelming. Welcome to the Origin Academy. Adam's eyes flicked across the view, taking in the sight. It was like something straight out of a fantasy world, except this was real. The man continued, his voice echoing through the hall. This academy isn't just for learning. It's a war zone. Only the strongest survive here, and the weak, well, let's just say they don't last long. He glanced at the crowd of newcomers. Your classes? Their battles. Your tests? Life or death. Your graduation. Ascension or destruction. A massive screen appeared in the sky, displaying a ranking board. Thousands of names flickered, each one radiating an intimidating presence. At the top, 3 names glowed in gold. 1. Etherian the Void Sovereign. 2. Seraphis Celestial Tyrant. 3. Ragnar Abyssal Warbringer. The names pulsed as if challenging anyone to try and take their place.
Adam Simirket.
So, it's that kind of school, huh? The man on the throne nodded. Exactly. Your goal? Climb that list. Survive. Conquer. And maybe, just maybe, you'll earn the right to call yourself a monarch. Adam rolled his shoulders, feeling the weight of the moment. Then, with a sharp grin, he stepped forward. Guess I better start breaking records, then. The man let out a low chuckle. If you think you can handle it. Then, his burning gaze swept over the rest of the newcomers. His voice echoed through the massive hall, carrying an undeniable authority. Listen up. You'll be assigned to your dorms shortly. Today, you settle in. Get used to your new environment. Memorize every inch of it, because starting tomorrow, the real game begins. He gestured to the massive ranking board in the sky. Anyone can challenge the rankings at any time. Prove your worth, rise through the ranks, or get crushed and forgotten. This is Origin Academy. With a flick of his wrist, the floor beneath them glowed. A massive, glowing crest formed beneath every newcomer's feet. Then, in an instant, flash, the entire group vanished, transported away in beams of light. Dormitory District Outer Courtyard. Adam reappeared in an open courtyard, standing on a smooth stone path surrounded by towering buildings. The sky above was a swirling sea of galaxies, shifting and twisting like a cosmic storm. Around him, the other newcomers materialized, each taking in their surroundings with varying reactions. Some looked in awe, others in excitement, and a few, their eyes were already scanning for potential rivals. A voice rang out. Attention, newcomers! A figure floated above them, standing on what looked like a hovering platform. He was tall, dressed in sleek black robes with silver patterns that pulsed like living energy. His silver hair drifted slightly, unaffected by the wind. I am Professor Kale. I'll be overseeing your orientation. The dorms are divided based on potential, strength, and raw ability. You've already been evaluated upon arrival, so your placement has been decided. A massive screen appeared in the sky, splitting the names into 3 groups. Celestial Dorm, for the top talents, those with the potential to reach the highest tiers. Titan Dorm, for those with strong potential, capable of growth but not yet at the peak. Mortal Dorm, the lowest ranked, those who barely qualified to enter the academy. Adam's eyes flicked over the list. His name was in Celestial Dorm. He smirked. Figures. Adam. Thank God I have seen someone I know. Adam turned to look at Hio called him, and a frown appeared on his face. How did you get here? Chapter 82. Orientation. How the hell did you get here? Joshua ran a hand through his hair, looking just as lost as Adam had felt earlier.
No idea.
1 second, I was walking back to the police academy with Alice, and the next, boom, I'm here, surrounded by a bunch of aliens. Who you calling an alien, man? A voice cut in. Joshua turned to see a young guy with strange, glowing eyes staring him down. My bad, Joshua said, raising his hands. Where I'm from, alien just means stranger. Didn't mean anything by it. The guy scoffed, crossing his arms. Humph. With that, he turned and walked away. Joshua let out a breath, shaking his head. Man, this place is weird. Then he turned back to Adam, his expression serious. All right, mind telling me where we are? And what the hell is this Origin Academy? Adam sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. Wish I could give you a proper answer, but I barely know myself. His eyes flicked over Joshua, studying him for a moment. One thing's for sure, though, you're not human. If you were, you wouldn't be here. Joshua blinked. Wait, what? Think about it, Adam continued. This place is for monsters, celestials, demons, gods, and all sorts of freakishly strong beings. If you got dragged here, then that means... He trailed off, letting the weight of his words settle. Joshua's brows furrowed. No way. I mean, I've always been stronger than normal people, but... Then you're not normal, Adam cut in. And if you really are human, then you're an anomaly, something way beyond what humans should be. Joshua clenched his fists, his mind racing. So what now? Adam smirked, tilting his head toward the towering academy. Simple. We survive. And if we're lucky, we thrive. Joshua exhaled, shaking his head. This is insane.
Adam şuruk.
Yeah, but it's happening. So, might as well roll with it. Before Joshua could respond, a loud chime rang through the air, echoing across the academy grounds. Instantly, a holographic screen materialized above them, its golden letters glowing with an otherworldly light. All new students, report to the Grand Hall for orientation. A ripple of murmurs spread through the crowd as figures began moving toward the massive entrance of the academy. Some walked with confidence, others with caution. Joshua sighed. Guess that means us too. Adam shoved his hands into his pockets. Yeah, let's go. The two joined the flow of students entering the academy. As they stepped inside, the first thing that hit them was the sheer scale of the place. Towering marble pillars lined the entrance, each carved with intricate symbols that pulsed faintly with energy. The ceiling stretched so high it looked like its own sky, filled with shifting constellations that shimmered with every step they took. Students of all shapes and sizes filled the vast space. Some towered over others like giants, while a few barely reached Adam's waist. Strange auras clashed in the air, some suffocatingly heavy, others eerily cold. Joshua whistled low. Damn, this place is unreal. Adam scanned the room, eyes locking onto a raised platform at the far end of the hall. The same cosmic flame-wreathed man from before stood there, his presence alone silencing the crowd. He raised a hand, and just like that, the entire hall went dead quiet. Welcome to the Origin Academy, he announced, his voice carrying an undeniable weight. From this moment on, you are students of the greatest institution in existence. But do not mistake this place for a sanctuary. His gaze swept across the room, his burning eyes seeming to linger on certain individuals, including Adam. This academy is not here to protect you. It exists to forge you, to break you down and rebuild you into something greater. Some of you will thrive. Some of you will not. A tense silence followed. Then, a different voice, sharp and commanding, cut through the air. Let's see if you even survive your first day. A figure stepped forward from the crowd. A tall young man with silver hair and piercing violet eyes, exuding an aura so suffocatingly strong that even some of the nonchalant students stiffened. A smirk tugged at his lips as he looked around. Origin Academy runs on one rule: strength. If you want respect, if you want a place here, you take it. His gaze landed on Adam. And I don't see anything special about you. Joshua muttered under his breath. Oh great. First day, and you're already getting called out. Adam exhaled, rolling his shoulders. Yeah, let's get this over with. The silver-haired guy stepped forward, hands in his pockets, that smirk never leaving his face. "Come on, new guy. Show us why you're even here." The crowd shifted, forming a loose circle around them. Whispers spread like wildfire. "Damn! Already? This might be fun." "That's Leon, one of the top-ranked students. No way a newbie's standing up to him. Poor bastard doesn't even know what he's walking into." Joshua leaned toward Adam. "Dude, you sure about this? We just got here." Adam cracked his neck. "He's not giving me much of a choice, is he?" Leon let out a chuckle. "Tsh, I was hoping you'd say that." And then he moved. A blur. So fast that Joshua barely caught it. Before Leon was suddenly inches from Adam, fist shooting straight for his face. Boom! The force of the strike sent a shockwave ripping through the hall, shaking the floor. Some of the weaker students stumbled back from the sheer pressure. But Adam? He caught the punch. Just like that, a dead silence fell over the room. Leon's smirk faltered for the first time as he stared at Adam's hand, gripping his fist like it was nothing.
Adam siket.
"Man, you're kinda slow." Leon's eyes flashed. "What?" Before he could react, Adam twisted his arm and drove a knee straight into his gut. Crack! Leon's body folded as he was sent flying across the hall, crashing into one of the marble pillars with enough force to leave a spiderweb of cracks. A few gasps rang out, while some students just stood there wide-eyed. Joshua whistled. "Well, that was satisfying." Adam rolled his shoulders. Yeah. Can we move on now?" The cosmic flame-wreathed man on the platform finally spoke again, amusement flickering in his burning gaze. "Interesting. Very interesting." Leon groaned, pulling himself out of the wreckage, eyes blazing with something between shock and excitement. "Heh, not bad, new guy." He wiped some blood from his lip and grinned. "I think I'm gonna like it here." Adam sighed, rubbing his temples. "Great. Another weirdo." Chapter 83, Aurora Ashbourne. The next morning, Adam stepped out of his dorm, no, his mansion. The celestial dorm wasn't like the others. While the rest of the students were crammed into large, fortress-like buildings, the celestial dorm was something else entirely. Massive, luxurious, and eerily empty. Each mansion belonged to a single person.
No roommates.
No shared space. Just you and whatever insane power got you ranked high enough to be here. Adam smirked as he stretched, taking in the golden sky above. Guess they know strength when they see it. With a lazy jump, he took to the air, flying effortlessly over the dorms. But just as he was about to head out, something caught his eye. Or rather, someone. Floating near another mansion, looking just as confused as yesterday, was Joshua. Adam exhaled through his nose, shaking his head. Figures. He dropped down in front of Joshua, arms crossed. "All right, you being here confirms it. We need to figure out what you are. Fast." Joshua blinked, still adjusting to the whole flying thing. "I'm telling you, man. I don't feel any different." Adam gave him a flat look. "You got put in the celestial dorm. That means you're either a god, a monster, or something worse. If you don't figure it out soon." He let the words hang. Joshua swallowed. "I won't last here."
Adam nodded.
Exactly. Before Joshua could process that, a loud boom shook the air. A pulse of golden energy erupted in the distance, sending out a shockwave strong enough to rattle the academy grounds. Both of them turned, eyes locking onto the source. The battle arena. Joshua frowned. What the hell was that? Adam's smirk returned. Looks like someone just challenged the rankings. He glanced at Joshua. "Wanna see what happens when people actually fight around here?" Joshua hesitated for half a second before exhaling. "Screw it. Let's go." With that, they both shot toward the arena, the air crackling around them. Today was about to get a whole lot more interesting. As Adam and Joshua soared toward the arena, the closer they got, the more intense the energy became. The very air trembled, crackling with raw power. When they finally reached the edge of the massive Colosseum, Adam landed lightly on one of the towering stone walls, arms crossed. Joshua, still getting used to flying, dropped down beside him, less gracefully. Damn, Joshua muttered, staring down at the battlefield below. This place is huge. The battle arena was like something ripped straight out of mythology. Massive stone pillars circled the battlefield, covered in glowing symbols. The ground was cracked and scorched from countless fights. And above, floating platforms hovered in midair, offering perfect spots for spectators. And right now, all eyes were on the fight below. Two figures stood in the center of the arena. One was a giant of a man, covered in thick obsidian armor, his fists glowing with molten energy. The other was a young woman with short, silver hair and golden eyes, her hands lazily resting in her pockets. Joshua raised an eyebrow. Wait, that tiny girl is fighting that guy? He's built like a damn tank.
Adam scoffed.
Size means nothing here. As if to prove his point, the armored giant roared, his entire body bursting into flames as he slammed his fists together. Come on then, Celestial. Show me if you're worthy of that title. The silver-haired girl yawned. All right, if you insist. Then she vanished. Joshua barely had time to process what happened before the sound hit. A deafening crack echoed through the arena as the giant flew backward, his massive body skipping across the battlefield like a pebble on water before slamming into a pillar, shattering it to dust. Joshua's mouth hung open. What the actual? The girl tilted her head, still standing where she started, looking almost bored. Too slow. The crowd erupted. Some cheered, others groaned in frustration, probably losing bets. Meanwhile, the giant groaned as he pulled himself out of the rubble.
Adam simirket.
See? Told you. Joshua exhaled. All right, noted. Strength here is on a whole different level. Just then, a deep, booming voice echoed across the arena. Winner, Sylvia. She moves up in the rankings. A massive golden screen appeared in the sky, shifting the names on the Academy's ranking board. Sylvia's name climbed, while the giants dropped. Joshua frowned. Rankings, huh? He turned to Adam. Where the hell do we even rank? Adam scratched his head.
No clue.
I don't even know how this system works. Joshua stared at him. Wait, hold up. You're telling me you don't know anything about this place either?
Adam siket.
Nope. Got dumped here same as you. Just rolling with it. Joshua groaned. Fantastic. So we're both clueless. Before they could say anything else, a few students near them whispered excitedly. Holy shit. Is that him? No way. Why is he here? Joshua followed their gazes and froze. A figure was walking onto the battlefield. Tall, draped in black, with piercing eyes that practically glowed. His presence alone seemed to drain the energy from the air, making everything feel heavier. Adam narrowed his eyes. Looks like things are about to get serious. Yeah, real serious. A calm voice cut through the noise, making Adam and Joshua turn. A girl stood behind them, her violet eyes cold and unreadable. But Adam knew the moment he saw her. She was human.
I'm Aurora.
Aurora Ashbourne of the Ashbourne family, or Order, if you prefer. Her voice was flat, almost emotionless. Adam barely spared her a glance before turning back to the arena. Oh, another one from Earth. Great. Guess we're collecting humans now. His tone dripped with sarcasm. Aurora didn't react. I know you're being sarcastic, but you're wrong. Her gaze flicked to Joshua, her expression unreadable. We're the only ones left. Every human who came before us, they weren't strong enough. They're dead. Joshua swallowed hard. Damn.
Adam frowned.
And how exactly do you know all this? You just got here too. Aurora didn't answer right away. Instead, she turned her eyes toward the towering ranking pillar at the edge of the arena, the one Adam had been staring at earlier. Names shimmered in golden light, shifting with every battle. At the very top of the new student rankings was a name that made Adam's brow twitch. First, Adam Dark. Second, Aurora Ashbourne. Third, Joshua Jeremiah. Joshua exhaled sharply. What the hell is going on here? Chapter 84. first battle. Nothing to panic about. You deserve that rank. You just don't know it yet. Aurora's words made both Adam and Joshua raise a brow. All you need is a little push to awaken your powers.
Adam scoffed.
Yeah? And you know this how? Aurora didn't even blink. Because I've seen it. Adam narrowed his eyes. Seen what? She tilted her head toward the arena, where the air was still crackling from the earlier explosion. That guy who just stepped on stage? He's here for you. Joshua frowned. Wait, what? Aurora nodded. He doesn't think you deserve the top spot, and he's about to prove it in front of the entire academy. Adam stared at her, something about her words sending a chill down his spine. How the hell do you know all this? Aurora finally turned to look at him, her violet eyes holding something deep, unshaken, certain. Because one of my abilities lets me see the future. Joshua blinked. Like glimpses? Aurora shook her head.
No limits. No restrictions.
I can look 5 seconds ahead, or 10 years if I want. Adam let that sink in. That's kinda broken. It is. Aurora didn't deny it. But knowing the future doesn't mean you can always change it. She looked back at the arena, where the challenger was raising his hand, motioning toward the ranking pillar. And right now, your fight's about to start. As if on cue, a booming voice echoed across the arena.
Adam derk.
Step forward and prove you belong here. The crowd stirred, whispers turning into full-on cheers. Everyone wanted to see how the top-ranked freshman handled his first real challenge. Adam exhaled through his nose, rolling his shoulders. TCH, guess we're doing this. Joshua hesitated. Dude, you don't even know the rules. Doesn't matter. Adam cracked his neck, a smirk creeping onto his lips. A fight's a fight. He took a step forward, then another, and with a single push, he launched himself toward the arena, landing with a loud boom that shook the ground beneath him. The crowd roared. The challenger smirked. Aurora watched from the sidelines, eyes glowing faintly. Let's see if you're ready, Adam. The arena was massive, an open coliseum with towering walls and a sky that stretched endlessly above. The ground was made of some kind of reinforced stone, cracked and scarred from countless battles before this one. Adam landed, rolling his shoulders as he took in the guy standing across from him. Tall, muscular, arms crossed, eyes sharp. He had that, I've been waiting for this moment my entire life, look on his face. So, you're Adam Dark. The challenger's voice was deep, steady. Adam gave a lazy shrug. That's what they tell me. The guy grinned. I'm Kane Velstadt. Remember the name, 'cause after today, it's going above yours. Adam arched a brow. Bold words. Considering I don't even know who you are. Kane's grin widened. You will. Up in the air, a mechanical drone hovered over the arena, projecting the fight onto massive screens around the Coliseum. A loud beep echoed. Match confirmed. Adam Dark versus Kane Velstadt. The crowd erupted. Cheers. Shouts. A few bets were being placed in the stands. Joshua, still in the audience, muttered under his breath. Bro, this dude looks like he eats people for breakfast. Aurora, watching with her arms crossed, sighed. Don't worry, Adam will win. Joshua glanced at her. You saw the future? Aurora's violet eyes glowed faintly.
No.
I just know idiots like Kane never win. Back in the arena, Kane rolled his shoulders, the air around him shifting. A deep boom echoed from his body, the ground cracking under his feet. His energy surged, dense, heavy, like a tidal wave about to crash. Adam let out a slow breath. All right then. He clenched his fists, a faint crackle of energy flickering around him. Let's get this over with. The drone beeped again. Match start. Kane moved first. 1 second he was standing still. The next, he exploded forward, a shockwave rippling behind him as he swung a fist straight at Adam's face. Adam barely had time to react. He twisted his body, the punch grazing past his cheek. But the sheer force behind it sent him skidding backward, his heels digging into the stone. Kane didn't let up. He was already on him again, launching a flurry of blows, each one fast, heavy, dangerous. Adam dodged, weaved, blocked where he could. But he wasn't just defending, he was watching, analyzing. Cain fought like a brawler, brute force, overwhelming strength. But strength alone wasn't enough.
Adam simirket.
Not bad. Cain narrowed his eyes. What?
Adam eyhalet.
Then moved. Faster than before. Faster than Cain expected. His foot slammed into Cain's side, sending the bigger guy flying across the arena. Crashing into the stone with a thunderous boom. The crowd gasped. Joshua's eyes widened. Okay. What the hell? Aurora smirked. He's waking up. Cain groaned, pulling himself out of the rubble, eyes burning with rage. You little... Adam cracked his knuckles, rolling his shoulders. Come on then. His smirk widened. Let's see if you can keep up. How's Adam gonna win? Joshua asked, eyes locked on the fight. He wasn't expecting a deep answer, just something to make sense of what he was seeing. But Aurora didn't respond. He turned to look at her. She was just staring at Adam. No expression, no reaction, just watching. And that's what made Joshua uneasy. She knew things. She always knew things. But right now, she looked like someone trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. Aurora. She finally spoke, her voice quiet but firm. I can't see his future anymore. Joshua blinked. What? Aurora's violet eyes didn't move from Adam. This has never happened before. I can always see what's coming. 5 seconds, 10 years, doesn't matter. But now, it's just gone. Joshua swallowed. So what does that mean? Aurora exhaled slowly. It means Adam does not want me to look into his future anymore. She finally looked at Joshua, her gaze unreadable. He's now a mystery, even to me. Back in the arena,
Adam grinnet.
Cain was strong, fast, tough, but none of it mattered anymore. Because Adam wasn't just fighting. He was enjoying this. He weaved through Cain's attacks like it was second nature, his movements fluid, effortless. And when he struck back, boom, a fist to Cain's gut, boom, an uppercut that sent him staggering, boom, a straight punch to the face that cracked the ground beneath them. Cain stumbled, gasping for air, his vision spinning. Adam just smiled. Come on, man. You wanted this, right? Chapter 85, Decimating Cain. Cain wiped the blood from his lip, eyes burning with something dangerous. He wasn't done. The air around him started to shift. Heavy, suffocating. A deep, vibrating hum echoed through the arena as the ground beneath him cracked. Joshua tensed. Yo, what the hell is that? Aurora narrowed her eyes. He's activating his ability. Cain let out a slow breath and then, boom, a shockwave burst from his body, sending dust and debris flying. His skin darkened, glowing with a deep, molten red as cracks of fiery energy ran along his arms. The ground under his feet melted slightly, sizzling with heat. Infernal core. His voice was deeper now, rougher, like he was speaking through a furnace. You should feel honored, Adam. I don't use this on just anybody. Adam's smirk didn't fade. Yeah? And what's it do? Make you slightly less of a punching bag. Cain didn't answer. He moved. One moment he was standing still. The next, bang! He was in front of Adam. Too fast. Adam barely had time to raise his arms before Cain's fist crashed into him. Crack. The impact sent Adam flying, tearing across the arena like a bullet. He slammed into the stone wall hard enough to leave a crater, and for the first time since the fight started, he felt it. Joshua jumped to his feet. Damn! Aurora, arms still crossed, didn't even flinch. Adam groaned, pulling himself out of the rubble. His body ached. His arms were singed from the heat of that punch. All right? He muttered, shaking out his limbs. That actually hurt. Cain cracked his knuckles, steam rising off his body. That's the point. Adam rolled his neck, exhaling. Guess I should stop holding back then. Cain scoffed. What? You got some kind of hidden power too?
Adam Simirket.
His eyes flickered just for a second. Then he vanished. Kane barely had time to register before. Boom! Adam's fist smashed into his gut, bending him forward. Before he could react. Boom! A knee to the chin. His head snapped back, vision blurring. Boom! A kick to the chest sent him skidding across the arena, his molten energy flickering wildly. The crowd lost it. Joshua's jaw dropped. Bro! He just teleported. Aurora finally smiled. Not teleportation. Joshua stared at her. Then what the hell was that? Aurora's violet eyes gleamed. Adam's just that fast. Kane coughed, struggling to his feet. He growled, flames flaring violently around him. Don't get cocky. Adam was already in front of him. Kane's eyes widened. Wah!
Adam Greenlet.
Too slow. His fist slammed into Kane's face, and this time he didn't stop punching. Kane's head snapped to the side, spit and blood flying from his mouth. But Adam wasn't done. His fist was already swinging again. Bang! Kane barely had time to block before another punch hammered into his ribs. Bang! 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 Adam's fists blurred, slamming into Kane over and over. Each hit sent shockwaves through the arena. The ground cracked beneath them, Kane's molten aura flickering under the relentless assault. The crowd went insane. Joshua had both hands on his head. Holy shit! Bro's getting pieced up. Aurora exhaled through her nose, amused. Kane growled, eyes glowing like embers. He clenched his fists, flames bursting around him. Enough! He threw a wild punch, heat distorting the air. But Adam leaned just slightly, dodging it like it was slow motion. Kane's eyes widened.
Adam Simirket.
Too easy. Then he vanished again. Kane spun around, eyes darting everywhere. Where? Boom! Adam reappeared behind him. A brutal axe kick crashed down onto Kane's shoulder, smashing him into the ground like a meteor. The stone beneath them exploded, sending cracks spiderwebbing across the arena floor. The force of the impact sent a shockwave through the air, knocking over several spectators in the stands. Even Joshua flinched. Yo! Kane groaned, trying to push himself up, but Adam didn't let him. He grabbed Kane by the face, fingers digging into his molten skin, completely unfazed by the heat, and lifted him off the ground. Kane thrashed, flames roaring to life. Adam slammed him back down. Boom! Then again. Boom! And again. Boom! The arena floor shattered under each impact. Cracks ran all the way to the walls, dust and debris flying everywhere. The crowd lost their minds. Kane let out a choked gasp, dazed, eyes flickering. His flames sputtered, flickering wildly. His infernal core was breaking. Adam finally let go, stepping back. Kane coughed, trying to get up, arms trembling. His vision was spinning. Adam cracked his neck. That all you got? Kane panted, flames flickering weakly around his body. His mind was racing. He'd never been overwhelmed like this. His legs shook as he stood, but Adam was already in his face. Kane's heart stopped. Adam's grin widened. Night, night. His fist drove into Kane's stomach with enough force to fold him in half. Boom! The shockwave erased the ground beneath them. Kane's body launched backward like a missile, smashing through the arena walls, then another, before finally coming to a stop in a pile of rubble, completely unconscious. Silence. Then, the crowd exploded into cheers. Joshua nearly fell over. Bro just got deleted from the match. Aurora, watching Kane's motionless body in the debris, smirked. Told you. Adam exhaled, rolling his shoulders. Well, that was fun. Then he turned to the crowd and raised a fist. The arena roared. The stadium was shaking from the sheer volume of the crowd. Cheers, screams, and wild chants filled the air like a thunderstorm. No way! Someone in the stands shouted. He just bodied Kane. That wasn't even a fight. Bro got bullied. Joshua was still clutching his head, his face a mix of shock and secondhand pain. Cain didn't even get a chance to fight back. That was a public execution. A few rows down, a group of students were still frozen in place, jaws hanging open. One of them slowly exhaled. That speed. That power. Who the hell is this guy? Aurora, arms still crossed, glanced at them. That's Adam. Try to keep up. Meanwhile, in the middle of the destroyed arena, dust was still settling. The lights in the arena shifted, a massive spotlight beaming down on Adam as the crowd exploded again. Adam takes the victory in a flawless performance. A massive screen above the stadium replayed the final moments. Adam's insane speed, the brutal slams, and that devastating gut punch that sent Cain flying through multiple walls. Each replay made the crowd lose their minds all over again. Monster! Someone yelled. Cheat code. Put him in a higher bracket. Adam, still standing in the middle of the ruined arena, rubbed the back of his neck like he wasn't sure what all the fuss was about. His clothes were barely even ruffled. Joshua shook his head in disbelief. Dude ain't even sweating. That's illegal. Aurora's face did not show any expression as she said, I told you he was fast. Joshua exhaled, staring at Adam like he was seeing him for the first time. Fast? Bro, that wasn't fast. That was straight up disrespectful. Meanwhile, medics were already rushing over to where Cain was buried in the rubble. The guy wasn't moving. A deep, shaky groan echoed from the wreckage as Cain's battered hand twitched. He was still alive, barely. One of the medics knelt beside him. Damn! You got wrecked, dude. Cain barely managed to open one eye. His entire body ached. His flames had died out. His infernal core was shattered. He groaned, voice raspy. Shut up. Adam, watching from the center of the arena, gave a lazy wave in Cain's direction. Nice fight. Cain coughed up dust. Go to hell. Adam just grinned. Already been there. The crowd erupted again. And while I'm here, I would like to go further. I want to challenge the next ranking and climb that leaderboard. Chapter 86. Second Battle. Adam cracked his neck, rolling his shoulders like he was just warming up. He let the cheers settle, just enough to make sure everyone was listening before raising a hand. While I'm here. His voice was calm, almost lazy, but the weight behind it was undeniable. Might as well keep going. The stadium went dead silent. Aurora's eyes flickered with interest. Joshua damn near choked on his own breath. Yo, what? Adam smirked, tilting his head toward the massive floating leaderboard above the arena. His name was sitting right at the top of the newcomer rankings, glowing in bold gold letters. That was fun and all, he said, stretching his arms. But I'm not stopping here. Let's keep it moving. I'm climbing that board. The stadium lost its mind. He's not done. Bro wants smoke with everybody. Joshua slammed his hands on the railing. You just fought, dude. Take a nap or something. Aurora chuckled. Nah. This is getting good. Ranking system. The leaderboard pulsed, shifting into clear view above the arena. Newcomer rankings, for fresh blood. New students who just entered the arena scene. First, Adam Dark, just promoted. Second, Aurora Ashbourne. Third, Joshua Jeremiah. Adam had just claimed the top spot after bodying Cain. But this was only the first tier. The board shimmered again, shifting to reveal the next level. Elite rankings, for those who crushed the newcomer tier and earned a real seat at the table. First? Second? Third? No names, just mystery. Unlike the newcomer rankings, the elite board didn't display its champions. It only revealed them when someone was worthy. These were the ones who had already stomped their way to the top, the fighters who had wrecked every opponent before them. The stadium lights flared, illuminating a massive ranking pillar rising from the ground. Carved from ancient obsidian, pulsing with golden runes, it was a symbol of dominance. The higher the name, the stronger the fighter. Joshua gulped, staring at Adam. Bro's actually serious. Aurora's violet eyes gleamed. Looks like he's about to shake up the whole system. Adam shoved his hands into his pockets, looking straight at the officials or instructors. So, he smirked. Who's next? Silence. Then, boom! The ranking pillar rumbled. The next opponent had accepted. The ground shook. The ranking pillar pulsed, golden runes flaring to life like a beast awakening from slumber. The crowd barely had time to process what was happening before a voice, deep, mechanical, and undeniable, boomed across the stadium. Match confirmed. Adam Dark versus Krozak the Devourer. A hush fell over the arena. Then chaos.
Yo, Krozak.
The Krozak. Nah. Adam's actually fighting a monster now, LMAO. Joshua's jaw dropped. Bro. What? Aurora remained expressionless. Her violet eyes flicked toward the opposite side of the arena, where the air rippled with heat. And then, thump, a massive, hulking figure stepped forward from the shadows of the ranking pillar. 8 feet tall, heavy, plated black exoskeleton, sharp like a predator's armor, 6 glowing crimson eyes, twin sets of arms, each ending in jagged, clawed fingers. His mouth split open, too wide, too full of needle-like teeth, as a low, guttural chuckle rumbled from deep within his chest. Krozak the Devourer, an abyssal titan, a species so rare they were considered walking calamities. The crowd backed up instinctively. Why's a titan even in the academy? Forget that. Why's he in the rankings? Joshua ran a hand through his hair, stress levels skyrocketing. Yo, Adam, maybe this is the one you walk away from? Adam just rolled his shoulders, popping his neck with a bored expression. Nah, he cracked a smirk. I like the name. Devourer? Sounds fun. Krozak tilted his head, mandibles clicking in amusement. Human, you will be a fine meal. His voice was ancient, like something dredged up from the depths of the abyss. The mechanical voice returned. Match start. Boom! The arena exploded into action. Krozak vanished, a blur of black and crimson. And Adam? He just smiled. Then he moved. A shockwave ripped through the arena. Krozak disappeared, moving faster than anything his size had any right to. His 6 glowing eyes locked onto Adam and then, boom! A black blur crashed down, claws ripping through the air. Adam tilted his head. Just enough. The claws missed by a hair. The impact behind them? Not so much. KRRKO. The entire stage cracked beneath Krozak's strike. Dust shot up like an explosion, obscuring everything. What the hell? He's fast as hell for his size. Is Adam even? A shockwave blasted the dust away. Adam stood there, untouched. Krozak's mandibles clicked. HM. Quick prey. Then his exoskeleton ignited. Black flames burst from his body, licking across his armor like a living entity. The air around him twisted from sheer heat. Abyssal titans. They didn't just fight. They adapted. Krozak lunged again, but this time he didn't go for a direct attack. Instead, he disappeared into the shadows. Joshua's hands clenched the railing. Oh hell no! Shing! A clawed hand erupted from Adam's own shadow. Then another. And another. Dozens of abyssal limbs stretched out like a monstrous swarm, aiming to rip Adam apart from all sides. And then, boom! A wave of golden energy blasted outward from Adam's body. The abyssal limbs disintegrated on contact. Krozak reemerged, skidding backward across the ruined stage. His 6 eyes flickered with something close to confusion. What was that? Adam cracked his knuckles. My turn. The air changed. The very ground beneath him seemed to bow under an unseen force. His eyes turned gold. Ancient, radiant markings crawled up his arms and neck, burning like battle-hardened scars. A golden aura, thick, suffocating, absolute, erupted around him, distorting reality itself. The spectators felt it. It wasn't mana. It wasn't ki. It was something else. War God's supremacy. A bloodline trait. Something only he had. Krozak's instincts screamed, "Move, now." But it was too late.
Adam vaniset.
No blare. No flash.
Just gone. And then, crack. Krozak's body bent as Adam's fist buried itself in his gut. The force behind it, enough to make the entire stadium tremble. Krozak's 6 eyes widened. Kara arg. A massive shockwave erupted, sending Krozak flying like a meteor. The crowd screamed. Joshua's hands were on his head. Bro just launched a Titan. Aurora's lips parted slightly, just for a second. Interesting. Krozak slammed into the far wall of the arena, leaving a crater in his wake. Silence. Then, the wall shattered as Krozak stood up, armor cracked, blood dripping from his mandibles. His 6 eyes burned with fury. Good. His voice was deeper now, more primal. I will enjoy this fight, human. His black flames erupted, doubling in size. The abyss around him pulsed. The fight was just getting started. Chapter 87. This entire academy is now my loot. The arena cracked beneath Krozak's feet as he launched forward, a living storm of claws and black fire. His exoskeleton gleamed under the blazing stadium lights, and his 6 eyes pulsed with raw killing intent. Boom! A single stomp shattered the ground as he closed the distance in a blink. His twin sets of arms blurred, each clawed strike aiming to tear Adam apart from every angle. Adam didn't move, not until the very last second. Whoosh! He weaved through the onslaught, twisting and shifting just enough for every attack to miss by mere inches. Krozak's claws slashed through empty air, carving deep gashes into the arena floor instead. Stand still, human.
Adam simirket.
Nah. Bang! His fist slammed into Krozak's ribs, golden energy detonating on impact. The abyssal titan lurched back, skidding across the ground as his exoskeleton cracked even further. But he wasn't done. Before Adam could follow up, swoosh! Krozak's second set of arms moved in. A blur of black claws lashed out, forcing Adam to lean back just in time to avoid his throat being torn open. But the attack wasn't meant to hit. It was a setup. Crack. A tail, jagged, armored, and covered in abyssal flames, whipped forward from behind Krozak, striking Adam's side with bone-crushing force. Adam shot backward like a bullet, slamming through a series of stone pillars before finally skidding to a stop. Joshua flinched. OSH. Aurora's gaze sharpened. That's a problem. Krozak didn't give Adam a second to breathe. His flames roared to life, the black inferno twisting into something even darker, something deeper. The shadows around the arena bent unnaturally, drawn into him like a vortex. Then, foom! The abyss itself erupted forward. A wave of black fire, seething with chaotic energy, surged toward Adam like a tidal wave, threatening to swallow him whole. The audience gasped. And then, boom! A golden explosion tore through the abyssal flames, splitting them in half. The entire stadium shook as Adam emerged from the smoke, dusting off his shirt like he hadn't just been hit by a titan. His voice was casual. Too casual. Golden energy crackled around him like a raging inferno, his war god's supremacy flaring even brighter. The pressure in the air doubled.
No, tripled.
Krozak's 6 eyes narrowed. Then, they moved. Boom!
Fist met klauw.
Blow after blow. The two blurred across the battlefield, striking at speeds that left afterimages behind. Krozak's claws sliced through the air, barely missing Adam's throat. Adam's elbow cracked against Krozak's jaw, sending him staggering. The crowd could barely keep up. The impact of every clash sent shockwaves through the arena, splintering the ground beneath them. Pillars shattered. The ranking pillar trembled. Even the floating leaderboard flickered under the sheer force of their battle. Adam ducked under a razor-sharp claw, spun midair, and slammed a golden-imbued kick straight into Krozak's torso. Bang! Krozak flew backward, but then, whoosh, he vanished into the abyss. Adam's eyes flicked around, his senses sharp. Silence. Then, shing! A black claw shot out from the shadows behind him. Adam tilted his head. Just enough. Whoosh! The attack missed by millimeters. But another one was already coming. From below. And from the side. And from... Boom! A golden shockwave exploded from Adam's body, ripping through the abyssal hands. The entire battlefield was swallowed by the light for a brief moment, forcing even the audience to shield their eyes. As the smoke cleared, Adam and Krozak stood at a distance, finally separated. Both breathing heavier than before. Both analyzing each other. Krozak rolled his shoulders, his mandibles clicking in amusement. His exoskeleton was cracked, pieces of armor chipped away, but his 6 eyes still burned with fury. Adam wiped a small trail of blood from his lip, grinning. "You good?" he asked, stretching his arms. "Or are we just getting started?" Krozak let out a deep, guttural laugh. "Oh, human, we are far from finished." Their next clash was going to be even worse, even louder, even deadlier, and the entire stadium could feel it. Adam barely spared Krozak a glance as he turned toward the instructor's section. His smirk deepened, sharp and amused, but something about it made the air turn ice-cold. His golden eyes gleamed under the arena lights. "When you said get stronger or perish in Origin Academy," he asked casually, tilting his head, "does that mean we can kill each other?" Silence. Not just from the officials, everyone froze. A shiver ran through the stadium. Joshua's breath hitched. "Bro, what the hell?" Aurora's fingers twitched, but her expression remained unreadable. Even Krozak, still burning with abyssal flames, paused. His 6 eyes narrowed. Up in the stands, one of the instructors finally shifted. He wore a long black coat, his face hidden behind a sleek metal mask. His voice came through, smooth but laced with something sharp. "Only if you can get away with it." The crowd erupted. "What? Nah. This school is actually insane." Joshua grabbed his head. "This ain't even a school. This is a damn battle royale."
Adam laughed.
Just once. Low and entertained. Adam's thoughts raced. "So I can collect subordinates here? The so-called children of the universe?" His golden eyes gleamed. "If I can kill them and claim them as loot, just like I did with Wraith, then by the time I leave this place, I'll be unstoppable." A grin stretched across his face. "Yes, host," the system chimed in. "But not all students here are children of the universe. Most are just freakishly strong and deemed worthy of Origin Academy." Adam barely heard the second half. His gaze lifted to the sky, a mad glint in his eyes. Then, ha 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 ha. His laughter erupted, deep and wild, shaking the air itself. Boom! The sky rumbled. Thunder crashed as if the heavens themselves were laughing with him. The arena trembled, and for a split second, the entire academy felt that presence. Every student, every instructor, every being in that moment had the same thought. What the hell is this monster? Adam ran a hand through his hair, his smirk never fading. Then, between his laughter, he finally spoke. "You fools! You don't know what you just did." His voice carried across the entire academy, bold and unwavering. "This entire academy is now my loot." The words hung in the air, heavy, absolute. No one knew whether to be terrified or impressed. But one thing was certain. Adam wasn't joking. Chapter 88. Nothing but loot. Shut up and fight. Krozak's voice rumbled like an earthquake, and in the next instant, boom! He launched himself forward, a blur of black exoskeleton and abyssal flames. But Adam? He didn't move. At least not in a way anyone could see. With the slightest tilt of his body, he stepped just outside of Krozak's path, dodging so smoothly it looked effortless. For a brief second, time seemed to slow. Krozak's massive form sailed past him. His 6 glowing eyes tracked Adam, realizing his attack had missed. And then, crack! Adam's forehead slammed into Krozak's face with a devastating headbutt. Boom! Krozak's body shot backward like a cannonball, crashing through the air before slamming into the far side of the arena. The ground shattered beneath him, cracks spreading out like a spiderweb. The stadium went silent. Adam exhaled slowly, lowering his head. Then, as he took a step forward, boom! The ground beneath his foot cracked. Another step, boom! The pressure in the air grew heavier. Step by step, he walked toward Krozak, his golden eyes gleaming with something dangerous. He raised a hand, pointing directly at him. You! Krozak's head twitched as he slowly pushed himself out of the rubble. Adam's smirk widened. You're a child of the universe, aren't you? Krozak froze. The crowd barely processed what Adam had just said before. Foam! Krozak's abyssal flames erupted, blazing hotter than before. His mandibles clicked rapidly, his 6 eyes narrowing with something between rage and wariness. Then he spoke. How do you know that name?
Adam Çaklet.
So I was right. His smirk deepened. His aura surged. A golden shockwave rippled through the air. The entire arena shook. Then,
Adam Vaniset.
Krozak's instinct screamed. Abyssal! Too late. Boom! Adam's fist buried itself into Krozak's gut, this time twice as hard as before. The air detonated. A shockwave erased the ground beneath them. Krozak's body folded around the punch, and then he was gone. A blur of black and crimson, launched into the sky like a shooting star. The stadium erupted into chaos. He punched him into the sky? Naya, this ain't normal. Joshua's mouth hung open. Bro, what are you? Aurora's eyes gleamed. This is getting good. Up above, Krozak twisted midair, abyssal flames raging around him. His exoskeleton cracked, his body trembling, but his eyes burning with fury. Fosh! He roared, and the sky darkened. Shadows twisted around him, stretching, growing, forming monstrous shapes. Then, they dropped. Dozens, no, hundreds, of abyssal arms rained down from above, each one massive enough to crush entire buildings. Joshua's eyes widened. He's dropping a whole army? Adam looked up and grinned. Now that's more like it. The entire arena trembled. Boom! 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 The abyssal arms crashed down like meteors, smashing into the ground, crushing everything beneath them. Shadows slithered across the battlefield, twisting like living nightmares. Adam stood in the middle of it all, hands in his pockets, watching. The audience, losing their damn minds. He's done for. No one's surviving that. Even Joshua gulped. Yo, Aurora, should we? Aurora didn't answer. Fosh! A pillar of golden energy erupted from the center of the storm. The abyssal arms stopped. No. They froze midair, trembling as if an unseen force had gripped them. Then, shatter. Every single one exploded. The battlefield turned into a sea of golden light as the abyssal arms were reduced to nothing. Up above, Krozak's 6 eyes widened. What? Adam stepped out of the golden mist, completely untouched. His grin never left. That all you got? Before Krozak could react. Boom! Adam launched himself into the sky. In an instant, he was right there, inches from Krozak's face. Krozak barely had time to flinch before. Bam! A punch to the gut. Boom! A kick to the ribs. Crack! A spinning elbow to the jaw. The impact sent shockwaves through the sky. Krozak was tossed around like a ragdoll, every hit landing clean. The audience couldn't keep up. What the hell is this speed? Krozak snarled, his abyssal flames roaring to life again. Enough! His 6 eyes flared, and the air around him twisted. Whoosh! A massive black spear materialized in his hands, its surface pulsing with dark energy. Adam stopped mid-air, tilting his head. Oh! Krozak grinned, blood dripping from his mandibles. D. He swung. The moment the spear moved, boom! The entire sky ripped open, a tear in space itself swallowing light, sound, everything. The shockwave blasted through the arena, shaking the very fabric of reality. The audience screamed. Even Aurora narrowed her eyes. Joshua? Joshua was holding onto his seat for dear life. Did he just tear space apart? Adam, still midair, watched the incoming spear. Then he sighed. Whoosh! He vanished. Krozak's 6 eyes darted around. Where? Bang! A golden fist smashed into his face. Krozak's world turned upside down as he was sent crashing down like a meteor. Boom! The entire arena exploded on impact, dust and debris shooting into the sky like a nuclear blast. The stadium went dead silent. Joshua's jaw dropped. No way! Aurora leaned forward, her eyes glinting. TCH. Show off. As the dust settled, Adam descended from the sky, slow and steady, like a god surveying his battlefield. His golden eyes locked onto the crater where Krozak lay, barely moving. He landed softly, walking toward him. 1 step, 2, 3. Then he crouched down, looking at the broken, defeated Krozak. His smirk widened. Now! He reached out, grabbing Krozak by the face. Let's see what kind of loot you drop. Adam's grip tightened around Krozak's face. The once mighty warrior trembled, his 6 eyes flickering in disbelief. You! Krozak rasped, abyssal flames sputtering weakly from his body. You! Monster! Adam chuckled, his fingers digging into Krozak's exoskeleton. And you! His smirk deepened. Are nothing but loot. Then, crack. A sickening sound echoed through the arena. Krozak's body froze. His 6 eyes dimmed. A single second of silence. Then, boom! Krozak's entire body erupted into golden particles, scattering like 1,000 shooting stars. The audience was stunned. Some students jumped to their feet. Others just sat there, eyes wide, mouths open. Even the instructors looked shaken. Then, ding! A mechanical voice rang through the arena. Adam takes the victory in a flawless performance. The entire stadium exploded with sound. No way! He killed a child of the universe like it was nothing? What kind of monster is this guy? Adam stood tall, golden embers floating around him. He slowly turned, glancing at the instructors. His smirk widened. Well, he spread his arms. We'll continue this tomorrow. Chapter 89. Abyssborn Ravagers. He really did it. A man with golden hair and eyes like the sun leaned forward, staring at the screen where Adam stood in the arena, surrounded by golden embers. Krozak's lifeless body lay at his feet. A slow smirk formed on the man's lips. Fearless. Beside him, another man. Same golden hair, same sun-like eyes, nodded. His expression was unreadable, but there was a glint of satisfaction in his gaze. That's why he's the best candidate this year. His voice was calm, confident. I chose him for a reason. But then, Father, a younger voice cut in. Darren, golden-haired, just like them, but his eyes carried something else. Concern. Isn't this risky? He leaned forward, his fingers tightening into fists. You know the Abyssborn Ravagers are insanely vengeful about their own. He exhaled sharply. Krozak was one of their elites. I bet word of his death has already reached them. They wouldn't dare set foot in the Origin Academy. The first man's voice was steady, unwavering. His golden eyes locked onto Darren. They know better than that. Darren's jaw tightened. Yeah, sure. But what about outside the academy? His gaze flicked between his father and uncle, his frustration growing. New students will eventually leave to explore the outside worlds, to understand the universe they're part of. What's stopping the Abyssborn Ravagers from attacking Adam then? Silence. Then, they wouldn't dare touch a student of the Origin Academy. Darren's father, Daryl, finally spoke, his voice filled with certainty. Doing so would put their entire species at risk. Darren exhaled sharply. Dad, come on. There are plenty of ways to get rid of someone. His golden eyes narrowed. Even if the Abyssborn Ravagers are a bunch of brutes, they're not stupid. They could find a way to kill Adam without it leading back to them. He expected concern, maybe even a hint of caution. But his father only leaned back, eyes glinting with something else. That's the least of our worries. Darren frowned. What? Daryl turned back to the screen, watching as Adam stood over Krozak's corpse, golden embers still flickering in the air. What I want to know, his voice dropped slightly, is how a human just used a power that belongs exclusively to the Demon King of the Demon Realm. Elsewhere. Cecilia, I want you to look into this, Adam. The man's voice was calm, but his celestial presence made the air feel heavy. His golden eyes glowed faintly as he gazed at the woman before him. I want to know what kind of future he holds. Sitting in a lotus position, Cecilia, a white-haired woman with pure white eyes, slowly exhaled. Her brows furrowed as she focused on the man in front of her. Then, after a long pause, she frowned. I can't see it anymore. The celestial man's expression didn't change, but his eyes sharpened. Cecilia shook her head. His future, it's blank. A strange silence filled the room. She lifted her gaze, her voice quieter now. Every other being in the academy. I can see their fates as clearly as ever. Her white eyes flickered. But him, she exhaled sharply. It's like he doesn't even exist in the flow of time anymore. The celestial man's gaze didn't waver. Blank. His voice was calm, but something shifted in the air around him. Pressure. Faint but undeniable. Cecilia swallowed. Completely. No threads, no possibilities. Just nothing. She clenched her fists on her lap, frustration creeping into her tone. I can even see the abyss-born ravagers moving as we speak, furious about Krozak's death. But Adam, she exhaled sharply. It's like time itself refuses to acknowledge him. The celestial man's golden eyes glowed, reflecting something deeper, something unreadable. Interesting. Cecilia's frown deepened. This doesn't concern you? The man turned, his flowing celestial robes shifting like waves of light. It does. He took a step forward, hands behind his back. It means he's something beyond fate. He paused, his voice lowering just slightly. And that makes him more dangerous than anyone realizes. Cecilia's voice sharpened, her white eyes narrowing. So dangerous that even you should be concerned. She exhaled, frustration slipping into her tone. I can see every living being's fate in this universe, from the smallest ant to the most powerful overlords. But him, she shook her head. A kid who hasn't even reached monarch yet. And I can't see a damn thing. Her gaze locked onto the celestial man, searching for any sign of unease. But he only smiled, and that irritated her more. You just call it interesting? The celestial man finally turned to face her, hands still clasped behind his back. The golden glow in his eyes deepened, as if peering through reality itself. Because it is interesting. Cecilia's lips pressed into a thin line. The celestial man took a step forward. There's only one type of existence that escapes fate, he said calmly. Those who create it. Cecilia's breath hitched. Are you saying he's... I don't know what he is. The celestial man's gaze flickered toward the sky, as if searching for something unseen. But whatever he becomes, it will shake this universe to its core. Cecilia stared at him, trying to find the usual arrogance in his tone, the overconfidence. But this time it wasn't there. This time it was something else entirely. Something close to curiosity. And maybe, just maybe, a hint of caution. Origin Academy, Inner Hall. Adam walked through the marble corridors, his steps quiet but deliberate. Behind him, the whispers of students still echoed from the arena, their voices filled with shock and speculation. But he ignored them. His expression was calm, unbothered. Then, step, presence. Adam stopped. Ahead, leaning casually against the wall, was a young man with sharp eyes and a lazy smirk. His black and red uniform marked him as an upperclassman, one of the strongest in the academy. He clapped slowly. Well, the upperclassman drawled. Flawless victory, huh? Adam said nothing. The upperclassman pushed off the wall, his smirk widening. You really stirred things up. His crimson eyes gleamed. I like that. He took a step closer. But you see, freshman, the air around him shifted. There are rules in this academy. A faint pressure settled in the hall. The temperature seemed to drop. Adam's expression didn't change. The upperclassman tilted his head, studying him. I wonder, he mused, do you even know what you've gotten yourself into? Chapter 90, Lutz-Grozek. Adam's gaze didn't waver. He looked at the upperclassman, his expression unreadable. Then, in a calm voice, what's your name? The upperclassman raised a brow, clearly amused. Adam's next words were just as indifferent. And what rank are you on the academy's leaderboard? For a moment there was silence. Then, the upperclassman let out a short chuckle. You've got some nerve, he said, shaking his head. I like that. His crimson eyes gleamed as he crossed his arms. The name's Zirin. His voice carried a quiet confidence. Ranked 14th in the entire academy. A slight smirk tugged at his lips. And you, freshman? He tilted his head. You think you can just ask about rankings like it means nothing? Adam didn't answer. Zirin took another step forward. I get it. His voice was smooth, almost lazy. You're the big deal right now. Everyone's talking about you. That flawless win against Krozek. He whistled lowly. Impressive. Then his gaze darkened slightly. But let me tell you something. A faint pressure filled the air. A slow, creeping weight. The ranking table isn't just about numbers. It's about hierarchy. His smirk widened. And right now, you don't have one. The halls seemed quieter now. The distant murmurs of other students had faded. Adam finally spoke. Is that supposed to scare me? Zirin blinked. Then, he laughed. Loud, unrestrained. His amusement was clear, but there was something else in his eyes now. Curiosity, excitement, and just a hint of something dangerous. Oh man, Zirin grinned, shaking his head. You're either really confident or just completely clueless. His gaze sharpened. Either way, he cracked his knuckles, a subtle energy rippling through the air. I like testing new talent. Silence. Then, a shift, a pulse of power. Students in the distance froze as they felt it. A low, thrumming energy filling the hall. Zirin's grin widened. Let's see if that flawless victory was just a fluke. Just as the tension hit its peak, a sudden clap echoed through the hallway. Sharp, crisp, commanding. Zirin's energy vanished instantly. Students turned, their eyes widening as a tall figure strode toward them. An instructor, dark robes flowing behind him. His sharp silver eyes locked onto the two. His expression was unreadable, but the air around him was heavy. That's enough. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried weight, an authority that couldn't be ignored. Zirin's smirk faltered for a second. Just a second. Then he stuffed his hands into his pockets, tilting his head slightly. Come on, Instructor Rail, he drawled. We were just getting to know each other. Rail didn't blink. You're in the hallways, he said flatly. Not the dueling grounds. Zirin clicked his tongue but didn't argue. Adam, meanwhile, simply watched. Calm. Unmoved. Rail's gaze flicked to him. Adam, was it? Adam nodded once. Rail studied him for a moment before turning back to Zirin. If you're that eager to fight, he said, go challenge someone in the ranking matches. Not some first year in a hallway. Zirin chuckled, shaking his head. Man, you guys are no fun. He stretched lazily, his sharp gaze landing back on Adam. Guess we'll have to continue this later, freshman. Adam didn't react. Zirin turned, throwing a two-fingered salute as he walked off. As soon as he was gone, the tension in the hallway snapped like a broken string. Whispers erupted among the students. Rail sighed. You're attracting attention fast, he said, eyeing Adam again. Be careful who you make enemies with. Adam met his gaze. I don't make enemies, he said simply. Rail raised a brow. Then you might want to tell that to Zirin. Rail studied Adam for a second longer, then let out a quiet sigh. You freshmen are always something else. He shook his head before turning. Classes start tomorrow. Try not to get into another fight before then. With that, he walked off, his presence fading as quickly as it had appeared. The hallway was still buzzing. Students whispered in hushed tones, their eyes flicking between Adam and where Zirin had disappeared. Some were impressed. Some were wary. Others, they were just waiting to see how things would unfold. Adam, as usual, ignored it all. With a slight roll of his shoulders, he turned and started walking. Then,
Yo, Adam.
a voice called out from behind him. He glanced back. A guy with messy dark blue hair and bright silver eyes jogged up, a wide grin on his face. I gotta say, man, that was insane. He whistled, shaking his head. Most first years would have folded the second Zirin even looked at them funny. But you, his grin widened. You didn't even flinch. Adam didn't respond. The guy didn't seem to mind. Name's Male, by the way. First year like you. Adam gave him a brief look before continuing to walk. Male, completely unfazed, easily fell into step beside him. So, he continued, stuffing his hands into his pockets, are you always this unbothered? Or do you just have a crazy high tolerance for nonsense? Adam glanced at him. Male grinned. A brief silence. Then,
Adam spoke.
both. Male burst out laughing. Man, I like you. Adam didn't react. Kale, still grinning, stretched his arms behind his head. Well, whatever. Since we're both new here, might as well stick together. Yeah. Adam didn't respond. Male took that as a yes. And just like that, a new annoying presence had attached itself to Adam. Time passed quickly, and before long, Adam reached his dorm. The room was simple, nothing fancy, just a bed, a desk, and a window overlooking the academy grounds. He sat down, rolling his shoulders. Then, all right. His voice was calm as he leaned back. Let's see what I got from that Krozak guy. A familiar system prompt flashed before his eyes. Processing rewards. Displaying acquired loot from battle with Krozak. Adam's eyes flickered slightly. This was the part he had been waiting for. Adam watched as the system window loaded, a faint glow illuminating his dorm room. Processing complete. Displaying acquired loot from battle with Krozak. The first item appeared. Bloodline acquired. Abyssborn Sovereign Bloodline. A bloodline of the highest grade among the Abyssborn Ravagers. Grants immense physical strength, abyssal regeneration, and dominion over abyssal energy. Enhances resistance to soul-based attacks and dark element techniques. Adam's brows lifted slightly. Not bad. Before he could fully process it, the next reward appeared. Monarch's Authority. Then, the last reward. Oh? Simply, Krozak. A unique reward. Krozak. Chapter 91. Abyssal Veil. Adam exhaled slowly, his eyes narrowing slightly. Would you like to assimilate the Abyssborn Sovereign Bloodline? There was no hesitation. Yes. The moment he confirmed, a surge of darkness erupted within him. His body tensed as raw abyssal energy flooded his veins, spreading like wildfire. His heartbeat pounded like a war drum, each thud shaking him from the inside out. Then, pain. It wasn't the sharp, unbearable kind. It was deep, heavy, like something was unraveling him and reforging him at the same time. Adam clenched his fists, his nails digging into his palm. His vision blurred as black and crimson energy coiled around his limbs, his muscles tensing and shifting. His bones felt like they were being reforged, denser, stronger. His senses expanded. He could feel it, the abyssal power surging through his blood. A monstrous strength, something primal, something ancient. Then his body cracked. A ripple of abyssal energy pulsed outward, dark tendrils flickering around him before fading into his skin. His breath came out slow, steady. Assimilation complete. Adam opened his eyes. For a moment, they flickered. A deep abyssal black, with crimson streaks glowing faintly before fading back to normal. He flexed his fingers. Stronger. He could feel it. This bloodline wasn't just an upgrade. It was a transformation. A small smirk tugged at his lips. Now, let's see about you. Adam reached into his inventory and pulled out the final item. A core. It was pulsing faintly, a deep red glow flickering within. Oh? Simply, Krozak. He turned it over in his palm. Then, without a word, he infused his energy into it. The response was immediate. The core shuddered, the glow intensifying. A pulse of dark energy spread out, making the air heavy. Then, a crack formed. Then another. And then, boom! A surge of abyssal power erupted from the core, and in the next instant, a massive figure stood before him. Tall, towering, broad-shouldered with obsidian skin marked by faint crimson lines pulsing like veins. Clawed hands flexed, and burning crimson eyes locked onto Adam. Krozak. His presence was suffocating, his abyssal energy rolling off him in waves. For a moment there was silence. Then, Krozak exhaled, tilting his head slightly. His deep voice rumbled through the room like distant thunder. Krozak stared at his hands, his glowing crimson eyes widening in shock. He clenched his fists, feeling the strength in his body, the power that shouldn't be there.
I'm alive.
His deep voice rumbled, disbelief laced in every word. Memories of his final battle flashed through his mind. Adam standing over him, the killing blow, the darkness swallowing him whole. And yet, here he was, breathing, standing. His gaze snapped to the figure in front of him.
Adam.
Except he wasn't just Adam right now. The aura he gave off was suffocating, heavy with authority. His body radiated abyssal energy, his presence demanding submission. Then, Krozak's instincts kicked in. Before he could even process it, his knees hit the ground. His body moved on its own. Head bowed, hands clenched against the floor. His entire being screamed at him to submit. This only happened in the presence of a royal. Krozak's chest tightened. A noble from his race?
Impossible.
Abyss-born sovereigns were extinct. And yet, my lord, Krozak said, his voice trembling slightly, his mind racing. It is an honor to stand before you. Excitement bubbled beneath his shock. He had died, yet a royal had brought him back. This was unheard of. But Adam just frowned. He glanced down at himself, taking in his form before exhaling. Then, in an instant, the abyssal energy around him faded. His features returned to normal. Just a human again. Hey, look up, Adam said, his tone almost amused. I'm the one who killed you, remember? Krozak stiffened. That voice. He knew that voice. His head lifted slowly, and as his eyes met Adam's calm, smiling face, something inside him snapped. You! His body reacted before his mind could catch up. He moved to lunge, but stopped. Or rather, he couldn't move. His limbs wouldn't respond. His power wouldn't activate. His body refused to obey. Panic surged through him. Adam tilted his head slightly, his smile never fading. If I were you, he said, voice light, almost teasing, I'd save my strength. Krozak gritted his teeth, straining, but it was useless. No matter how much he willed it, his body wouldn't disobey. You can't attack me, Adam continued, lowering his hands into his pockets. And you can't even think about harming me. Right now, he spread his arms slightly, the dim light casting shadows across his face. I'm basically your god. Krozak's breath came out shaky. This wasn't normal. This wasn't how things worked. And yet, he could feel it. Something binding him. An unbreakable law written into his very existence. Adam sighed, stretching his neck before rolling his shoulders. I can't keep you here too long, he said casually. So I'll just send you to my personal dimension. We'll talk more there. Before Krozak could react, Adam flicked his wrist. A vortex of swirling darkness erupted beneath him. The last thing Krozak saw was Adam's calm expression as the vortex swallowed him whole. Adam dusted off his hands, watching the last traces of the vortex fade away. With Krozak dealt with, he exhaled lightly, stretching his fingers as a thought crossed his mind. All right, he muttered to himself, his lips curling into a small smirk. Time to check out that little trick I cooked up. The one that screws over anyone trying to peek into my future. With a flick of his wrist, a translucent screen materialized in front of him, lines of glowing text scrolling across it. His system tab. His eyes scanned the list until he found it. Abyssal Veil. He tapped on it, and in an instant the information unfolded before him. Abyssal Veil, unique ability. Effect. Completely blocks all future seeing, fate-altering, and prophecy-based abilities from affecting the user. Anyone attempting to view the user's future will see only a void of nothingness. An abyss so deep it erases even the concept of destiny itself. Passive influence. The user exists outside the flow of causality. Fate cannot bind them, and prophecies cannot predict them. Even beings who stand above time itself will find their visions blacked out, as if the user simply does not exist. Counter effect. If an entity persistently tries to see the user's future despite the warnings, the Abyssal Veil retaliates. Depending on the level of the intruder, outcomes may range from temporary blindness to complete erasure from existence. Adam let out a low whistle. "Damn," he muttered, rubbing his chin. "I really made this unfair, huh?" He leaned back slightly, his expression relaxed but amused. With this ability, he wasn't just invisible to the future. He had erased the very concept of his future from reality itself. Even gods who could see across timelines would find nothing. No clues, no threads to pull. And if they were stupid enough to keep trying, well, they'd be lucky if blindness was all they got. Adam chuckled, shaking his head. "Yeah, this is gonna be fun." Chapter 92. Krozak meets Wraith. "Oh? You must be the newest addition to the collection." Krozak stiffened, his sharp eyes darting around, searching for the source of the voice. The space around him was vast yet eerily silent, a void stretching endlessly in all directions. "Hey kid, behind you." Krozak spun around instantly, his instincts flaring. His gaze landed on a man lounging casually against a sleek, black throne. He had jet-black hair, crimson eyes that gleamed like freshly spilled blood, and a smirk that sent a chill straight down Krozak's spine. The man leaned forward, resting his chin on his hand. "Abyss-born Ravager, huh? Damn rare to see one up close. Too bad this might just be the end of your species." Krozak's fists clenched. "Where is this place?" he demanded, his voice edged with tension. "And what do you mean, end of my species? There are still more of us out there." The vampire chuckled, pushing himself up and lazily strolling toward a sleek, floating chair. He dropped into it like he had all the time in the world. "First off," he said, stretching his arms behind his head, "you're inside a dimension Adam created, a personal playground where he tests his abilities, hones his strategies, and trains with his clones. Been here 2 days, and trust me, you don't want to see half the stuff I've seen." Krozak's eyes widened. A dimension he created? The sheer concept sent a shiver through him. "And as for your second question," the vampire's smirk widened. "Well, your race isn't exactly the forgiving type, are they? So tell me, what do you think is going to happen when they come for him?" He tilted his head and slowly dragged a thumb across his throat, making a sharp snapping sound. Krozak swallowed hard. The message was clear. They weren't coming to kill Adam. They were coming to die. Krozak's mind raced. His people were powerful, warriors, conquerors, but this was different. He had felt Adam's strength firsthand. He had died to it. And now, he was standing here, in a dimension created by the very man who erased him from existence. His fists tightened as he glared at the vampire. "You talk like he's invincible." Wraith chuckled, resting his cheek against his fist. "Kid, you don't get it, do you?" His red eyes gleamed with amusement. "Adam isn't just strong. He's untouchable." Krozak's jaw clenched. "Everyone has a weakness." At that, Wraith burst into laughter, his voice echoing through the endless void. "Pfft. Oh man, that's rich. You think Adam plays by the same rules as the rest of us?" He wiped a non-existent tear from his eye before leaning forward, his smile turning razor-sharp. Listen, I don't know what delusions you're clinging to, but let me spell it out for you. He tapped his temple. Adam isn't just powerful. He decides what power even means in the first place. The moment your people set their sights on him, they're already dead. They just don't know it yet. Krozak's breath hitched. His instincts screamed at him to deny it, to fight back, to do something. But deep down, a chilling realization began to settle in. His people weren't going to war. They were marching straight into oblivion. Wraith watched the emotions flicker across Krozak's face and smirked. Ah, there it is. That moment when it all sinks in. I've seen it before. He leaned back, lacing his fingers behind his head. And trust me, you're gonna see a whole lot more of it soon. Krozak exhaled slowly, his body tense. Tisage. So what now? Wraith shrugged. That's up to Adam. But if I were you, I'd start wrapping my head around the fact that your real life doesn't start until he says so. A chilling silence settled between them, and for the first time in his existence, Krozak felt small. Wraith smirked, clapping Krozak on the shoulder. Relax, kid. You should be honored. You're Adam's second general now. Who knows? Maybe one day you'll reach his level too. He chuckled. Though, by then, he'll probably be light years ahead. Krozak's brows furrowed at the title. Second general? His gaze sharpened. Then who's the first? You're looking at him. Before Wraith could even respond, a familiar voice cut through the air. Krozak turned to see Adam, or maybe a clone, walking towards them. Wraith is my first, Adam confirmed, his expression unreadable. And I'm about to put him to work. His gaze flicked to Wraith, a slow smile forming. I want to see something between an Abyssborn and a vampire, which is stronger. The room tensed. The implication was clear. Wraith's grin widened. Finally, I get to stretch my legs. He cracked his neck, anticipation burning in his crimson eyes. But then his expression softened just slightly. I have a request, my lord. Adam raised an eyebrow. When I'm done wiping out the Abyssborn Ravagers, let me visit my home planet, just for a bit. I want to see my kids. Wraith's voice lost its usual teasing edge. Of course I'll come back. Not like I can betray you even if I wanted to. His smirk returned. And after seeing what you're capable of these past 2 days? Yeah. I'd have to be insane to even try. Adam studied him for a moment before sighing. Flattery won't get you anywhere. He waved a hand dismissively. But fine. Do as you like. Wraith grinned. Much appreciated, boss. Adam then turned to Krozak. His gaze was sharp, expectant. You. Come with me. Krozak stiffened but followed as Adam turned away. I want to learn about the Abyssborn. Krozak followed Adam without a word, his mind racing. The way Adam spoke, calm, absolute, like everything was already set in stone, sent a chill down his spine. This man, no, this being, just what is he? They walked through the strange dimension, an ever-shifting space filled with floating landmasses, swirling energy streams, and towering structures that seemed to build themselves as they moved. It was like the universe itself was bending to Adam's will. After a moment of silence, Adam spoke. Tell me everything about the Abyssborn Ravagers. Krozak hesitated. Why do you want to know? Adam glanced at him, a knowing smirk on his face. Because I like knowing the things I'm about to erase. Krozak's fists clenched. You think you can just wipe us out? He gritted his teeth. The Abyssborn Ravagers are a warrior race. We thrive on destruction, on battle. Even if you're strong, we'll keep coming. Adam stopped walking. Krozak barely had time to react before an invisible force slammed into him, pinning him to the ground. It wasn't just pressure. It was like reality itself was holding him down, refusing to let him move. Adam crouched beside him, his voice calm but laced with something terrifying. I killed you once already, remember? I brought you back because I chose to. If I want, I can erase your entire race without lifting a finger. He leaned in, his golden eyes glowing faintly. So tell me, Krozak, do you really think your people stand a chance? Krozak's body trembled. It wasn't just fear. It was the horrifying realization that Adam wasn't bluffing. No, he finally muttered.
Adam grinledi.
Good answer. With a flick of his fingers, the pressure vanished. Krozak gasped, pushing himself up, his pride in shambles. Adam stood, stretching like he had just finished a warm-up. Now let's try this again. Tell me about the Abyssborn Ravagers. Their strengths, their weaknesses, and more importantly, he turned, looking at Krozak over his shoulder. How you want me to deal with them? Chapter 93, Joshua's Awakening. As the group moved through the academy grounds, Joshua walked up beside Adam, glancing at the unfamiliar face among them. So, who's the new guy? Joshua asked, his tone casual. Adam, leading the group, didn't even turn as he replied, his name is Male. The name's Male, Male added, offering a slight nod to Joshua. Joshua looked him over once before shrugging. All right then. He didn't say anything more, but something about Male made him feel a little off. He couldn't quite place it, so he just kept walking. A few moments later, Adam shifted his gaze to Joshua. Have you figured out your abilities yet? Or at least figured out why the Origin Academy accepted you? Joshua let out a frustrated sigh, rubbing the back of his neck. Not yet. I tried everything. Ran simulations in my dorm, put myself in dangerous situations, even hoped I'd suddenly grow wings or something. He shook his head. Nothing happened. Adam frowned slightly at that. He turned his eyes toward Aurora, who immediately felt his gaze on her. She met his eyes with an annoyed look, already knowing what he was about to say. You can see the future, Adam said. Why don't you just tell us how he awakens his abilities? I highly doubt the Origin Academy would bring in someone completely ordinary. Wait, he doesn't have any abilities? Male asked, his face betraying his shock. Wasn't that obvious? Aurora said, crossing her arms. She didn't even try to hide the irritation in her voice. Something about Male's presence rubbed her the wrong way. Adam noticed the tension but didn't comment on it. Right now, his focus was on Joshua. Don't worry about it, Adam finally said. If the Academy let you in, then there's something in you that's worth keeping. We'll figure it out soon enough. Joshua nodded, but deep down he couldn't shake the feeling that time was running out. Joshua let out a deep breath, nodding as he tried to shake off his frustration. Guess I'll just have to wait and see, huh? He muttered. Adam didn't respond immediately. He just kept walking, hands in his pockets, eyes distant. Then, after a few seconds, he spoke.
No.
Joshua blinked. Huh. You won't just wait and see. That's not how this works, Adam said, glancing at him. The power's in you somewhere, and if you can't bring it out, then I'll force it out. Joshua felt a chill run down his spine. He wasn't sure if Adam was joking or not. You sound like you're about to throw me off a cliff, he joked, trying to lighten the mood. Adam didn't smile. That's actually not a bad idea, he said. Joshua stiffened. Wait! Before he could react, Adam raised a hand, and in an instant, reality twisted. The entire group disappeared, and when Joshua opened his eyes again, he was standing at the edge of a massive cliff, wind roaring in his ears. What the hell? Joshua stumbled back from the edge, heart racing. Aurora sighed, arms crossed. You really just teleported us here, huh? Male, on the other hand, looked intrigued, watching Adam closely. Adam stepped forward, looking down at Joshua. If you really don't have an ability, he said, then you'll die when you hit the ground. Joshua's face paled. Wait, hold on. But, Adam continued, ignoring him, if you do have something hidden inside you, then this should wake it up. Before Joshua could argue, Adam placed a single finger on his forehead and pushed. Joshua's scream echoed as he plummeted off the cliff. The wind howled in Joshua's ears as he tumbled through the air, his heart pounding so hard it felt like it might burst. This is insane. He flailed his arms, panic taking over. The ground was coming up fast. Too fast. Adam, you crazy bastard, he screamed. Up above, Adam watched, arms still crossed. If he's really powerless, He'll die, he murmured. But that's impossible. The Origin Academy wouldn't accept him if he had nothing. Aurora sighed. You do realize that if you're wrong, you just murdered him, right?
Adam şuruk.
Then that just means he was useless. Male smirked, clearly entertained. Brutal. I like it. Joshua, meanwhile, was still falling, seconds away from splattering against the jagged rocks below. Nu, nu, nu. Something inside him snapped. His vision blurred. His body burned. His heartbeat slowed, the panic fading away, replaced by something else. Power. His instincts took over. His hands stretched out, and in an instant, the air around him twisted. Reality itself seemed to bend around his body, shimmering like a mirage. The force of his fall vanished, and he stopped, floating just inches above the rocks. For a moment, silence. Then Joshua's eyes widened. What the hell? Above, Adam smirked. There it is. Aurora's eyes glowed faintly as she observed him. Interesting. It's not flight. It's something else. Joshua slowly rose into the air, his body moving effortlessly, like gravity had lost its hold on him. He wasn't flapping any wings, he wasn't even trying. It was as if space itself was adjusting for him. He landed gently on the cliffside, eyes still wide with shock. I just... He looked at his hands, then at Adam. What did you do to me? Adam just grinned. I didn't do anything. You did. Joshua gulped. So, what is this? Aurora smirked. Looks like we found your ability. Male whistled. Not bad. Thought you were dead for a second there. Joshua was still catching his breath, but deep down he couldn't deny it. This power felt right. You only did that because you knew I'd stop you if it would actually kill him, Aurora said, her gaze fixed on Adam. Adam didn't even look at her. His eyes were still on Joshua, who was soaring through the air, laughing like a kid with a new toy. Pretty much, Adam admitted, a smirk creeping onto his face. You didn't stop me, so I figured my method would work. Aurora sighed, crossing her arms. You're insane.
Adam çaklet.
And yet, I'm always right. Chapter 94, Aurora's Status. Adam kept his eyes on Joshua, a knowing smirk playing on his lips. With a flick of his fingers, a translucent screen appeared before him, displaying Joshua's stats in real time. The moment he saw them, his smirk widened. Oh, looks like you were never just human to begin with. Joshua, still lost in the thrill of flight, had no idea that his very existence was shifting. His race had changed. A perfect fusion of demon and celestial blood, and his bloodline was awakening, albeit slowly. Right now, it was only at 5%. Adam's eyes scanned further down, his interest piqued. Joshua's status. Name, Joshua Jeremiah. Title? Bloodline. Celestial Demon Hybrid. Primordial Variant. Race, High Celestial Demon. Existence Tier, Tier 1. Core Attributes.
Physique, 25,430.
Mental, 20,760. Soul, 30,920.
Adam Vislet.
Damn, your stats are insane already. And this is just the start. He muttered, amused. If Joshua was already like this at 5%, what kind of monster would he become when fully awakened? His gaze shifted to the next section, Joshua's abilities. Abilities unlocked. Celestial Demonic Resonance enhances all physical and magical abilities by drawing on the harmony between his celestial and demonic heritage. The stronger the balance, the greater the power. Void Step allows instantaneous movement through space, phasing through physical attacks and barriers. Bloodline traits. Ascendant Adaptability learns and evolves from any battle, gaining resistances and countermeasures on the fly. Celestial Demonic Authority commands both light and darkness, able to shape divine and infernal energies at will. Primordial War Embodiment. The longer he fights, the stronger he becomes, with his power scaling infinitely in prolonged battles. Adam chuckled. And here you were, thinking you were just a regular guy. Joshua, completely unaware of what was happening inside him, continued flying with a wide grin. He had no idea his entire existence had changed. But soon he'd find out. Adam's smirk lingered as he shifted his focus to Aurora. With a mere thought, he accessed her stats, his gaze sharpening as the information unfolded before him. Let's see what you're really packing, Ashbourne. Aurora's status. Name, Aurora Ashbourne. Title? Bloodline. High human, primordial variant. Race, primordial high human.
Existence tiers, Awakened.
Core attributes.
Physique, 18,850.
Mental, 30,300. Soul, 31,970. Adam raised an eyebrow. Mental and soul stats are through the roof. Not bad. Then his eyes fell on her abilities. Unlike Joshua, Aurora had 5 distinct superpowers, all at the same level, the rank above X rank. Abilities: Omega rank, Eclipse Sight, an absolute form of future vision that sees all possible outcomes and forcibly removes possibilities that threaten her. Cannot be blocked, misled, or altered by external forces. Evergrowth Factor, a passive ability that ensures every ability she has continuously evolves, scaling infinitely as she gets stronger. No plateau, no limit. Sovereign's Dominion allows her to establish an absolute zone where she is in complete control. Time, space, energy, and matter within this area bow to her will. The stronger she gets, the larger the Dominion expands. Infinity Drive generates unlimited potential energy that fuels all her abilities, ensuring she never runs out of stamina, power, or magic. The harder she fights, the stronger she becomes. Astral Ascendance grants her a higher dimensional existence, allowing her to exist beyond normal spacetime. She can phase through attacks, become untouchable, or shift her form into pure energy at will. Astral Construct allows her to manifest ethereal weapons, armor, and even phantom clones of herself from raw energy, adapting her combat style instantly. Dimensional Shift. She can phase through dimensions, briefly becoming untouchable, or even stepping into alternate timelines momentarily. Adam's smirk widened. No wonder she's got that attitude. She's a monster in her own right. Bloodline traits. Primordial Cognition. Her intelligence, reaction speed, and battle instincts surpass all normal limits, making her a terrifying strategist. Celestial Soulfire, a unique high human trait that allows her to resist soul-based attacks and burn away foreign influences on her mind and body. Infinity Synchronization. Over time, her body, mind, and soul will naturally adapt to even the strongest energies, making her nearly impossible to overpower in the long run. Adam chuckled to himself. And she has no idea I just saw everything. Aurora, completely unaware, just kept walking beside him, arms crossed. Adam mentally nudged her, a sly grin on his face. All right, enough fun. Let's see what this battle-ridden academy has in store for us. Adam said with a smirk. With a snap of his fingers, the world around them twisted. Space folded in on itself, and in an instant, they were back in the hallway. Joshua barely had time to process before his feet touched solid ground beside them. His body still felt off. Stronger, faster, different. But there was no time to dwell on it. Adam turned, hands in his pockets, already walking toward the classroom. Let's go. Joshua, Aurora, and Male followed, the atmosphere between them shifting. Joshua felt eyes on him, Aurora studying him with quiet curiosity, Male with something closer to excitement. They could all feel it. Something about Joshua had changed. The classroom door slid open with a low hiss, revealing a massive hall. Not a typical lecture space, but an arena. Tiered seats stretched high, overlooking an expansive battleground at the center. The walls were lined with glowing inscriptions, pulsating with power, sealing the room with invisible energy. The students inside were anything but normal. Some floated in midair, their bodies glowing with power. Others sat cross-legged, surrounded by elemental auras. Origin Academy didn't do normal classrooms.
Adam Simirket.
Now this This is more like it. Aurora sighed. Why am I not surprised? Joshua, still adjusting to everything, barely had time to react before a sharp voice cut through the noise. Well, looks like the new kids finally showed up. A figure stepped forward. A tall, lean student with golden eyes that burned with arrogance. His uniform was crisp, but there was a wildness to him, a barely contained energy crackling at his fingertips. Took you long enough. The students around them went silent, watching intently. Joshua frowned. And you are? The golden-eyed student grinned. Your first opponent. Chapter 95. Talia Windshade. A charged silence filled the arena. The golden-eyed student took a step forward, the air around him crackling with energy. His grin never wavered, confidence radiating off him like heat. Joshua narrowed his eyes. First opponent? He wasn't sure whether to be annoyed or amused. We just got here, man. The student chuckled, lifting a hand as golden sparks flickered between his fingers. That's how things work here.
No entredacs gens. No varmu PS.
You fight or you don't belong. Adam crossed his arms, watching with mild amusement. Well, that's one way to say hello. Aurora sighed, already bored. These guys always have a prove-yourself phase, don't they? The golden-eyed student ignored them, his focus locked onto Joshua. You, step in the ring. Joshua raised an eyebrow. And if I don't? The student smirked. Then you walk out of here a nobody. A low murmur spread through the crowd. The students watching leaned forward, eager for a fight. This was their entertainment. Joshua exhaled through his nose, shaking his head. You guys take this battle stuff real seriously, huh? Male patted his shoulder. You might as well, bro. They're not letting you sit this one out. Joshua glanced at Adam, who just grinned. Do what you want, but I wouldn't mind a little show. I would mind. Sit down. The room went dead silent. All eyes turned to the woman who had just entered. She moved with the kind of effortless grace that made it clear she wasn't just any instructor. She was someone you didn't want to mess with. Long silver hair cascaded down her back, faintly shimmering under the classroom's lights. Her emerald green eyes had a sharp, piercing quality, like they could see right through every person in the room. Pointed ears peeked through her hair, a clear sign of her elven heritage. Dressed in a sleek black and gold uniform, the same style as the other instructors but with a high-collared cape draped over one shoulder, she radiated authority. Her expression was calm, but there was something about the way she carried herself that made even the cockiest students hesitate. Joshua, still adjusting to everything, glanced at Adam. Who's that? He whispered. Adam's smirk didn't fade. Talia Windshade.
Combat instructeur.
She's an elf, obviously, and one of the top fighters in the academy. Joshua raised an eyebrow. She doesn't look that strong. Aurora sighed. That's because you don't know how to look. Talia's gaze swept across the room before settling on the golden-eyed student. Leon, if you're so eager to fight, I can arrange a spar for you with me. Leon tensed, the arrogance in his eyes flickering for just a second. He forced a chuckle. I'll pass. Good choice. Talia's expression didn't change as she walked to the front of the classroom. Now take your seats. This is a class, not a battleground. The students, even the ones floating in midair or surrounded by elemental auras, finally sat down. Joshua followed, still feeling that strange energy inside him. Whatever had changed in him wasn't settling. It was like his body was still trying to figure itself out. Talia tapped a small device on her desk, and the lights dimmed slightly. A massive screen lit up behind her, showing a holographic display of combat scenarios, energy readings, and diagrams of different fighting techniques. This is advanced combat theory, she said. Most of you already think you know how to fight. You don't. Her eyes flicked toward Joshua, Aurora, and Male. And some of you are new, which means you'll have to catch up fast. Joshua felt Aurora's eyes on him again, like she was still sizing him up after whatever had just happened. He ignored it and focused on Talia. She turned to the class, her tone sharp. So let's begin. First lesson, surviving a real fight. The screen flickered, and a new display appeared. Two figures clashing in battle at inhuman speeds. Their movements were so fast they blurred, shockwaves erupting with every strike. Talia folded her arms. Someone tell me, what's the mistake here? The class was silent for a second before someone raised a hand. They're just throwing attacks, a student said. No strategy, no precision. Talia nodded. Correct. Raw power means nothing if you don't know how to use it. She turned back to the class. Which is why, for today's lesson, she snapped her fingers. The entire floor shifted beneath them, glowing with faint, pulsing lines of energy. We're going to see how well you actually fight. The floor beneath them glowed brighter. Then, boom! The entire classroom shifted. The seats, the desks, everything disappeared in a flash of light, replaced by an open battlefield. It wasn't just a training room. It felt like they had been transported somewhere else entirely. Towering stone pillars stretched into the sky. The ground cracked like an ancient arena, and the air thrummed with energy. Joshua staggered slightly, blinking in surprise. What the? Aurora sighed, already used to this. Illusion field. It's still the classroom, but it feels real. Talia smirked. Good. You're not completely clueless. Joshua looked around. The other students were already standing, their expressions shifting from boredom to focus. This was normal for them. Now then, Talia said, stepping forward. Since Leon wanted to fight so badly, let's give him what he wants. Leon smirked, stepping into the center of the arena. His golden eyes burned with excitement. Thought you'd never ask. Talia's gaze shifted to Joshua. You. Joshua blinked. Me? You're new. You're fighting him. The class murmured in interest. Leon laughed. Oh, this is perfect. He stretched his arms, golden energy crackling around his fingers. Let's see if the newbie can keep up. Joshua hesitated. He still wasn't sure what was going on with his body. But he wasn't about to back down. He stepped forward, rolling his shoulders. Fine. Let's do this. Talia's eyes gleamed. Good answer. She raised a hand, and the ground between them glowed. Begin. Leon moved first. A golden blur, faster than Joshua expected. In an instant, he was right in front of him, fist glowing like molten metal. Bang! Joshua barely managed to block, the impact sending him skidding backward. The force rattled his bones. Leon grinned. Not bad. Joshua exhaled. His body was reacting differently. Faster, stronger. His awakened bloodline was kicking in, even if he didn't fully understand it yet. All right then. He smirked. My turn. And then he moved. Chapter 96. Joshua versus Leon. Joshua's foot slammed into the ground, and he vanished. Whoosh! Leon's eyes widened. Boom! Joshua reappeared behind him, his fist already swinging. Leon barely had time to twist his body before. Bam! The punch connected with his arm, sending shockwaves through the air. Leon gritted his teeth as he skidded across the battlefield, stopping himself just in time. The ground beneath his feet cracked from the force. The class went silent. What the hell was that speed? Someone muttered. Joshua clenched his fist, feeling the power coursing through him. He had moved purely on instinct, like his body just knew what to do. His celestial demon bloodline was waking up. Leon rolled his shoulder, shaking off the sting. Then he grinned. Oh, this just got interesting. His golden aura flared, the air around him distorting from the sheer heat. Sparks of lightning crackled at his fingertips as he crouched slightly, his muscles tensing. All right, newbie, Leon said, eyes gleaming. Let's see how long you can last. Boom! He shot forward like a comet. Joshua barely managed to react before. Crash! Leon's fist slammed into his side, launching him into the air. Joshua twisted midair, flipping just in time to see Leon already above him, hands glowing. Not done yet. A golden explosion erupted from Leon's palms. Joshua's instincts screamed. Void step. Whoosh! Joshua phased out of existence. Leon's attack hit nothing. His eyes darted around. Where? Bam! A knee smashed into his stomach. Leon choked out a breath as Joshua reappeared behind him, eyes glowing faintly with dark and celestial energy. The force sent Leon crashing into the ground like a meteor. Boom! A massive crater formed where he landed, dust and debris shooting into the air. The classroom was dead silent. Joshua floated above, staring at his own hands, his heartbeat thundering in his ears. I just did that? Aurora watched from the side, arms crossed, her expression unreadable. Talia smirked. Not bad. The dust cleared, revealing Leon pushing himself up from the crater. He wiped the blood from his lip. Then, he started laughing. Heh! Ha ha ha! Now this is fun. His aura flared even brighter. The fight wasn't over. Joshua landed lightly on the cracked floor, his heartbeat steady, his body still humming with that strange power. Across from him, Leon straightened up, rolling his shoulders. The grin on his face hadn't faded. If anything, it had grown. Damn! Leon chuckled, wiping a bit of blood from his lip. You really aren't normal, huh? Joshua said nothing. He was still processing what just happened. His body was moving on its own, reacting faster than his mind could keep up. Felt natural, like he had been holding back his entire life without realizing it. Leon exhaled, his golden eyes sparking. All right, let's go again. The moment he said that, boom, he vanished. Joshua barely had time to register before. Crack! Leon was right in front of him, fist flying. Joshua threw up his arms just in time. Bam! The impact sent him skidding backward, his feet tearing through the ground. Whoosh! Leon was already there again, coming from the side. Joshua ducked. The punch barely missed his face, but the force alone sent a gust of wind ripping through the room. Joshua reacted instinctively. He twisted his body. Bam! A roundhouse kick smashed into Leon's ribs. Leon coughed, stumbling back, but his grin never wavered. He pushed off the ground, using the momentum to flip midair and launch himself right back. Joshua's eyes glowed faintly. Leon was fast.
Insanely fast.
But Joshua was getting faster. He could see Leon's movements now. Every slight shift in his muscles, every flicker of energy in his aura. Joshua's body moved before his mind could even think. Leon's fist came at him. Joshua vanished. Void step. Leon's punch hit nothing. His eyes darted around. TCH. Bam! A fist slammed into his gut from behind. Leon gagged. Joshua didn't stop. Crack! His elbow came down on Leon's back, sending him smashing into the floor. Boom! The classroom shook from the impact. Silence. Dust settled around the crater where Leon lay, groaning slightly. The other students just stared. No one had ever fought Leon like this. Joshua exhaled, rolling his shoulders. His mind was racing. What the hell was happening to him? His body felt lighter, faster, stronger, like something inside him was awakening. Leon coughed, then let out a low laugh. Damn! Joshua looked down, expecting him to be done. Instead, Leon got up. His golden aura flared again, even stronger this time. His eyes glowed like burning suns. His smile, wider than ever. You're really gonna make me go all out, huh? That's enough. Talia's voice rang through the room, sharp and final. The air froze. The golden aura around Leon flickered out. Joshua, still standing over him, felt a strange pressure press down on his body. Nothing heavy, but just enough to make it clear. She wasn't asking. This is a classroom, Talia continued, stepping forward. Her emerald eyes glowed faintly, scanning the two of them. Not the arena. You don't fight here to climb the rankings. You're here to learn, and that's exactly what you'll do. Silence. Leon, still catching his breath, let out a low chuckle and stood up. TCH. Yeah. He wiped a trickle of blood from his lip. Got a little carried away. Joshua relaxed his stance, though his hands still tingled with leftover energy. He wasn't sure if it was adrenaline or something deeper. Talia folded her arms, looking between them. That wasn't just a little spar. Her voice was calm, but there was something else in it. Curiosity, interest. Her gaze landed on Joshua. You're evolving. Joshua blinked. Huh. Talia turned slightly, motioning toward Leon. Leon is one of the highest-ranked students in this academy. His speed, his power. Most can't keep up with him. She looked back at Joshua, eyes narrowing slightly. But you did, and you weren't even using your full strength. A murmur rippled through the classroom. Joshua frowned. He didn't even know what to say. He hadn't felt like he was holding back. If anything, his body had just moved on its own. Talia's eyes glowed again, scanning him, seeing something he couldn't. Your abilities are shifting mid-fight, she said. Adapting, growing. She paused, tilting her head slightly. That's not normal. Joshua clenched his fists. Yeah. He already figured that much out. Talia turned to Leon next. And you? Leon raised an eyebrow. What about me? You knew he was evolving, she said. And you pushed him anyway. Leon smirked. Well, yeah. How else do you see how strong someone really is? Talia sighed. Of course you'd say that. She turned back to the rest of the class, her gaze sweeping over them. This is what I mean when I say Origin Academy isn't just about power. It's about understanding it. You two just fought like battle maniacs instead of thinking. She motioned toward Joshua. You don't even know what's happening to you yet. Then at Leon. And you don't care what happens as long as it's fun. Leon just grinned. What can I say? I like a good fight. Talia exhaled, rubbing her temples. Sit down, both of you. Leon shrugged and strolled back to his seat, still grinning. Joshua hesitated before doing the same, his mind still racing. As soon as he sat, he felt eyes on him. Aurora was staring. Hard. What? Joshua asked, still a little on edge. Aurora's expression didn't change. You're not normal. Joshua sighed. Yeah, I got that part already. Aurora just kept watching him, something unreadable in her gaze. Talia clapped her hands once, snapping everyone's attention back to her. All right, now that the unnecessary theatrics are over, let's actually begin. Chapter 97. Another bastard about to die. Well, now I know the second reason I never even thought about going to college, Adam said, arms folded behind his head, walking like he had all the time in the world. Joshua glanced at him. And the first reason? Adam opened his mouth. Taking care of his siblings? Aurora cut in, her face still completely blank. Adam and Joshua both turned to her. What? She said, blinking. That's what he was going to say. Adam just shrugged. Yeah, pretty much. And with that, he kept walking, completely unbothered. Joshua sighed, shaking his head. At least let the guy talk, Aurora. Aurora didn't respond. She didn't need to. She was right. Then, wait. Male suddenly spoke up, frowning. What is this college you guys keep talking about? The group paused. Adam turned to him, finally looking properly at the guy. The realization hit him like a delayed punch. Male looked human, but he wasn't. Joshua narrowed his eyes. You're joking, right? Male tilted his head. Should I be? Aurora blinked, and for the first time, something like mild surprise flickered across her face. You don't know what college is? Male shook his head. Nope. Adam ran a hand through his hair. Damn. I mean, I guess it makes sense. He gave Male another once-over. You look human, but you're obviously not. Male folded his arms. So what is it, then? Joshua exhaled. It's basically a place humans go to after high school. To study, get degrees, and prepare for their careers. Male blinked. Sounds like a fancy way of saying training grounds for work.
Adam snorted.
That's actually not wrong. Aurora tilted her head slightly. Except not everyone ends up using what they learned. Joshua sighed. Yeah, some people graduate and still have no idea what they're doing with their lives. Male frowned. Then why go? Silence. Adam and Joshua looked at each other. Aurora just stared. "Huh?" Adam muttered, rubbing his chin. "That's actually a damn good question." Joshua shrugged. "Some people go because they want to. Others go because their parents make them. Or because society says they should," Aurora added. Male crossed his arms. "That sounds unnecessary."
Adam grinledi.
"Welcome to human life, buddy." Male just sighed, shaking his head. "Humans are weird." "Tell me about it," Adam muttered. Joshua chuckled. "You're literally hanging out with us. So what does that make you?" Male thought for a second. Then, with complete seriousness, he said, "Tolerant." Aurora actually let out a small huff of amusement.
Adam grinledi.
"Damn, you're getting better at this." Male just smirked. As they continued walking, the conversation shifted to something else. But Adam kept stealing glances at Male. Yeah, this guy was definitely not human. As they walked through the academy halls, heading toward the battle arena, Adam kept sneaking glances at Male. Yeah, this guy was definitely not human. Joshua must have been thinking the same thing because he suddenly asked, "All right, Male, if you're not human, then what are you?"
Adam simirket. Ye, spill.
"We've been hanging out all this time, and we still don't even know what species you are." Adam could have just checked his stats and figured out what Male was in seconds. Heck, even Aurora could have peeked into the future and gotten the answer before he even spoke. But maybe they just wanted to hear him say it. Male walked ahead of them, hands in his pockets. Then, without looking back, he casually said, "I'm a Nephilim." Silence. Adam and Joshua stopped mid-step. Aurora kept walking, but she did glance back. "Wait, hold up," Adam said, holding up a hand. "Like, an actual Nephilim?" Male turned his head slightly, eyebrow raised. "Is that a problem?" Joshua blinked. "Dude, Nephilim are literally part angel, part something else. That's insane." Adam scratched his head. "I knew you weren't human, but damn, that explains a lot." Aurora stared at Male. "What's the other half?" Male paused, then smirked. "Wouldn't you like to know?" Adam narrowed his eyes. "Oh, hell no. Don't try to be mysterious now." Male just chuckled. "Maybe I'll tell you after we're done in the arena."
Adam huffed.
"Fine, whatever. But when I beat your ass in there, you better tell me." Joshua scoffed. "You? Beat Male? Please."
Adam grinledi.
"I'm feeling generous today. Maybe I'll let him last a few minutes." Male smirked, eyes glowing faintly. "You should be worrying about yourself, human." Adam's grin widened. "Now that's what I like to hear." Aurora sighed. "This is going to be exhausting." By now, they had reached the battle arena. The energy in the air was electric, filled with the anticipation of fights about to unfold. Adam stretched his arms, cracking his neck. "All right, time to rank up and beat some people senseless." Joshua adjusted his gloves. "Try not to embarrass yourself." Aurora, still expressionless, simply said, "Try not to die." Male rolled his shoulders, a faint golden aura flickering around him. "Try not to hold back."
Adam laughed.
"Oh, I like you." And with that, they stepped into the arena, ready to wreck some poor souls.
Adam derk.
A furious scream echoed across the arena. Adam let out a sigh, already knowing what was coming. Another poor idiot was about to become his loot. "I challenge you to a death match." The voice rang out again, filled with rage.
Adam blinket, confused.
He turned to Male. "Okay, but what exactly is a death match? I mean, I get that it's a fight to the death, but that's basically what I did to that Krozak guy back then. So why bother calling it a death match when I was going to kill him anyway?" Male scratched his head. "Well, in a normal arena fight, killing is more of an option than a requirement. A death match? That's straight up official. No surrender, no mercy, no backing out." Aurora, still as expressionless as ever, added, "Also, it means that if you lose, you die for real. No revivals, no second chances." Adam sighed again, stretching his arms lazily. "Man, This guy must really want to die, huh? He finally turned to see who was dumb enough to call him out. Chapter 98. Adam versus Number 1. Arena Showdown. Adam versus Number 1. Adam turned toward the source of the voice, hands still in his pockets, his face a perfect mix of boredom and mild curiosity. The crowd went wild, sensing the tension in the air. Across the arena stood a tall, lean guy with long silver hair that fell over sharp, piercing eyes. His aura was insane. Crackling energy surrounded him like a living storm. He stepped forward, the ground beneath him humming with power.
Adam Suinted.
Who the hell is that? Joshua shook his head.
No clue.
Aurora blinked. That's the number 1 in the elite rankings. Adam raised an eyebrow. Ha. Okay. Still don't know him. The silver-haired guy narrowed his eyes. TCH. Figures. Newcomers never do their research. His voice was calm, but there was an edge to it, like a blade hidden in silk. My name is Zane. Adam stared at him for a second. Cool. So you want to die, or? The crowd lost it. Gasps, shouts, and laughter echoed across the arena. Zane didn't react, just slowly unsheathed a katana from his waist, the blade glowing faintly. You're ranked 10th now, Zane said, his grip tightening. That means you're strong. But I refuse to share a ranking with some nobody who got here by luck. Joshua whistled. Damn. He called you a nobody. Adam just grinned. Oh, I like this guy. He cracked his knuckles. All right, let's get this over with. You called for a death match, so don't start crying when things don't go your way. Zane didn't even blink. He simply raised his blade, and in that instant, boom! The whole arena shook as his aura exploded outward. The wind howled. The sky darkened. Lightning crackled around him. Adam's grin widened. Oh, this is gonna be fun. The referee stepped forward. His voice amplified across the arena. Death match between Adam Dark and Zane. Fight! Zane moved. No warning.
No build-up.
Just instant speed. Shying. A silver flash cut through the air, and in the blink of an eye, Zane was already behind Adam, his blade slicing cleanly through. Nothing. Adam was gone. Zane's eyes widened slightly. Fast. Crash. Zane barely twisted in time as Adam appeared right above him, fist already swinging down. He blocked with his sword. Boom! The ground shattered beneath them. Dust exploded into the air. A shockwave ripped through the arena, sending the front-row audience staggering back. From the stands, Joshua let out a low whistle. Phew. Okay, yeah. This is gonna be a good one. Aurora simply crossed her arms, watching intently. As the dust cleared, Zane was still standing, his blade locked against Adam's fist, sparks flying between them. Their eyes met, and they both grinned. Then, at the same time, they vanished. What followed next was pure chaos. Explosions of power. Blades and fists clashing at speeds most people couldn't even track. One moment they were on the ground. The next they were in the air. Then back to the ground. Then across the arena. Each clash sent shockwaves through the battlefield, tearing up stone, splitting the earth. Zane spun mid-air, his katana crackling with energy. You're good.
Adam Simirket, Dogin effortlessly.
I know. Zane's sword glowed brighter. But not good enough. Adam cracked his neck. Buddy, you're gonna regret saying that. And just like that, they clashed again.
Crack boom.
The air shattered like glass. Adam ducked under a lightning-fast slash. His movement so smooth it was like he knew exactly where Zane would strike. Zane twisted, pivoting midair, his katana screaming through the wind, only to find Adam already gone. Wham! A fist slammed into his side. The impact sent him crashing through the arena floor, tearing through layers of reinforced stone like they were paper. The crowd gasped. Zane coughed, pushing himself up from the crater. His fingers trembled slightly. Tisich? Not bad. Adam stood above him, hands still in his pockets, grinning like he was barely even trying. Damn, that was light. You good. Zane wiped a streak of blood from his lip. His blade started glowing, arcs of electricity racing along the edge. You talk too much.
Boom!
Zane vanished. Then, 100 slashes. In less than a second. The air screamed as his sword tore through it. A storm of silver cutting toward Adam from every direction. The ground beneath them turned to dust. The shockwaves alone shattered the nearest walls. And yet, not a single slash landed. Adam weaved between the attacks like he was dancing, every movement just an inch away from disaster. His grin widened. Too slow. Zane's eyes flashed. Try dodging this. He leapt back, raising his sword skyward. The clouds above darkened instantly, twisting into a vortex of pure destruction. Lightning crackled, then surged down into his blade, turning it into a weapon of absolute devastation. Sky severance. He swung. A massive arc of light ripped through the battlefield, splitting the air itself. The force was enough to level a city block. Adam didn't move. Then, he raised a single hand. Boom! The entire attack stopped. The world seemed to hold its breath. Adam's fingers gripped the energy itself, stopping Zane's ultimate attack like it was a child's toy. Ha! Adam muttered, looking at the energy swirling in his grasp. This is kinda neat. Then he crushed it. The sky cleared instantly. The storm died. The entire arena went silent. Zane froze, his mind refusing to process what just happened. Adam sighed, cracking his neck. All right, my turn. He took a step forward, and the ground collapsed beneath him. The entire arena shook. The air warped. A pressure unlike anything before crushed down on everything. Zane's breath hitched. This wasn't normal. Adam lifted a single hand.
No glow.
No energy. Just a casual, effortless movement. Then he flicked a finger toward Zane.
Boom!
Zane's body was sent flying like a missile, smashing through the outer walls, tearing through layer after layer of barriers. The force of that one finger nearly obliterated him. And Adam just stood there, looking mildly annoyed. Damn! I held back too much. He sighed. Guess I gotta actually hit him next time. The crowd? Dead silent. Joshua whistled. Welp. Zane's done. Aurora just nodded. Yeah. Meanwhile, buried under the rubble, Zane coughed up blood, vision fading. He had one thought left before darkness took him. What the hell is this guy? Chapter 99. You are in the middle of freaks. Adam takes the victory in a flawless performance. The announcement echoed through the arena, but Adam didn't even bother to look at the screen. His eyes were locked on the pile of rubble where Zane had fallen. His lips curled into a small frown as he muttered under his breath. What? He's dead? Just like that? Pathetic. Number 1 was a waste on him. He turned away, his gaze drifting out toward the horizon of the arena, his thoughts elsewhere.
No wonder.
He wasn't a child of the universe. If given enough time, Krozak would have taken the number 1 spot. Adam shook his head, his mood souring. He didn't even care about the victory anymore. It was a pointless fight, a waste of time. He walked away from the arena, hands in his pockets, and made his way toward his group, plopping down on the bench with a sigh. The others, Aurora, Joshua, and Mael, were still fired up, though. Their eyes were filled with determination, the fire of competition alive in them. Aurora stood at the center of the arena, her eyes scanning the opponent in front of her. A tall, muscular guy with a jagged scar running down his face, his arms rippling with raw power. Ready to be crushed, little girl? He sneered, flexing his fists. Aurora didn't flinch. In fact, her smile only grew wider. Bring it. Wham! Before the guy could even make his move, Aurora vanished. A blur of motion, her body was a streak of white light. She reappeared in front of him, her legs swinging upward. Kick! Crack! His body lifted off the ground, crashing into the arena wall with enough force to leave a massive crater. The crowd went wild. Is that all you've got? Aurora taunted, stepping forward. The guy pushed himself out of the wreckage, his eyes burning with fury. But before he could retaliate, Aurora was on him again. Fists moving like lightning, strikes that were almost impossible to track. Each punch sent shockwaves through the arena. Each hit was precise, calculated, and brutal. Her opponent tried to block, but Aurora was simply too fast. With one last rapid barrage, she sent him flying through the air, crashing into the ground. Bang! She stood there, unscathed, as the dust settled. Her opponent was out cold. The announcer's voice boomed through the arena. Aurora takes third place with a flawless victory. Aurora smirked, wiping the sweat from her forehead, as she walked back to the group. Adam barely glanced at her, still leaning against the wall with his arms crossed. Joshua's opponent was a woman, short but with eyes that gleamed with a dangerous intensity. She wielded two blades, spinning them with deadly precision. "I've heard about you," Joshua said, grinning. "Let's see if you can back it up." The woman said nothing. She just took her stance. Whoosh! Joshua barely moved, the blades missing him by a hair. He rolled backward, pushing himself off the ground in a single fluid motion. Impressive. The woman didn't respond. Instead, she swung her blades again, faster this time, aiming for his torso. But Joshua was already there, his own hands flicking out, catching her blades with the tips of his fingers. He was lightning fast. She wasn't expecting it. Clang! The woman's eyes widened as Joshua twisted her blades out of her grip, sending them flying across the arena. She tried to kick him, but Joshua dodged effortlessly, his body a blur. Boom! Joshua launched himself into the air, then crashed down with a spinning kick that hit her square in the chest. The impact left a crater beneath her, and she was out cold. Joshua landed gracefully, dusting off his hands. "That wasn't too bad," he said, his grin widening as he looked back at the group. He'd made it to the 8th spot in the elite rankings. Male's opponent was a giant of a man, towering over him, his body covered in tattoos that seemed to glow with an otherworldly power. "This is going to be fun," Male said, cracking his knuckles. The giant swung a massive fist, aiming for Male's head. Male sidestepped, the punch crashing into the ground with enough force to crack the stone beneath him. Male grinned. "You're gonna have to do better than that." Smash! The giant swung again, but Male was already behind him, landing a blow to the back of his head. The impact sent the man tumbling forward, but he quickly recovered, spinning around with a deadly kick aimed at Male. Bang! Male blocked the kick with his arm, but the force of it pushed him back a few feet. All right, Male said, wiping blood from his lip. "You're tougher than I thought." The giant roared in fury, charging forward like a bull. But Male was quicker. He dodged again, using the giant's momentum against him. With a quick flick of his wrist, Male sent a shockwave of energy that hit the giant square in the chest, sending him flying backward. Crash! The man hit the ground hard and didn't get up. "6th place, huh?" Male muttered, wiping his hands on his pants as the announcer declared his victory. Joshua dropped down beside Adam with a satisfied sigh, stretching his arms behind his head. "Well, I guess we're all on the elite rankings now." Male grinned, cracking his knuckles. "Yeah, but I'm not stopping here. Next, I'm aiming for the number 1 spot in the elite rankings." The second those words left his mouth, Aurora let out a small scoff. "TCH. Quit dreaming." Male blinked, his grin faltering. "Huh? What's that supposed to mean?" Aurora turned her gaze toward him, her expression completely unreadable. "I can see the future," she said flatly. "And nowhere in that future do I see you beating me. Let alone Adam." Male frowned. "What? You're strong," Aurora continued, cutting him off. "No one's denying that. But compared to the 3 of us here," she shook her head, "you don't even come close." Male narrowed his eyes. "You're messing with me, right?" Aurora didn't even blink. "Joshua just needs time to adjust to his new powers. And when he does, he might even surpass me." She tilted her head slightly in Adam's direction. "And Adam? Don't even think about it. He's on a whole different level." A heavy silence fell over the group. Male exhaled through his nose, scratching the back of his head. "Damn. You really know how to kill a guy's confidence. Joshua chuckled. She's not wrong, though. Adam, who had been quiet the entire time, didn't even look at them. He just leaned back, arms crossed, eyes half-lidded. If he had an opinion on the conversation, he clearly didn't think it was worth sharing. Aurora leaned back, resting her weight on her hands. Face it, Male. You're strong. But you're in the middle of freaks. Male clicked his tongue, but he didn't argue. Because deep down he knew she was right. Chapter 100. Adam's Potential. Male leaned back on the bench, arms crossed, a faint smirk tugging at his lips. TCH. Freaks, huh? Guess I should take that as a compliment. Aurora just shrugged, uninterested. Joshua, still stretching his arms behind his head, chuckled. I mean, she's not wrong. You're strong, but against us? You'd have to pull off a miracle. Male scoffed, but before he could fire back, a loud chime rang through the arena. Ding, ding, ding. The giant screen above them flickered, shifting to a new message. Next round. The challenge matches begin. The crowd roared in excitement. The announcer's voice boomed across the arena, hyping up the next stage. All right, folks. Now that our elite rankings are settled, it's time for the real action. Challenge matches are open. If anyone thinks they deserve a higher spot, step up and fight for it. Who's got the guts? Who's got the skills? Let's see some carnage. A wicked grin spread across Male's face. He cracked his knuckles. Well, this is perfect. Aurora arched an eyebrow. Oh. Male shot to his feet, pointing a thumb at himself. Since I'm so weak compared to you guys, how about I prove you wrong? Aurora rolled her eyes. What, you're challenging me? Nope. Male's grin widened as he turned to Adam. I'm challenging him. The air around them seemed to shift. Joshua blinked. Aurora's casual expression finally cracked into something close to amusement? And Adam? He didn't even react. He just sighed. Not interested. Male frowned. What? Adam leaned back, arms still crossed, eyes still half-lidded like he couldn't care less. You're not worth fighting. The words hit like a slap. The energy around Male flared in an instant. His fists clenched, his jaw tightening. What did you just say? Adam still didn't look at him. You heard me. A dangerous silence settled between them. The crowd was still cheering for the other fights starting in the arena. But over here, everything felt still, tense. Aurora smirked. Told you. Joshua exhaled, rubbing his temple. Welp, this is about to be a disaster. Male took a step forward, his aura flickering around him like fire. I don't care if you think I'm weak, but at least have the guts to fight me, Adam. Adam finally turned his gaze toward him. Cold. Unreadable. You wouldn't last 3 seconds. Male gritted his teeth. You talk big, but you're just... Boom. The ground beneath Male cracked. A pressure, crushing, suffocating, slammed down on him like a mountain. His knees nearly buckled. His breath hitched. His eyes widened. Adam hadn't moved, but his presence alone, it was monstrous. Aurora and Joshua barely reacted, like they'd seen this 100 times before. Male, though, he felt like he was standing in the middle of a raging storm, drowning in something far beyond his comprehension. For the first time since entering the elite rankings, he understood. Adam wasn't on their level. Not even close. Male clenched his fists, forcing himself to stand tall against the invisible weight pressing down on him. Tisage, fine. He turned away, but the fire in his eyes hadn't dimmed. One day, Adam, Male muttered. One day you're gonna fight me for real. Adam said nothing, and just like that, the moment passed. The pressure vanished. Aurora smirked. Well, that was fun to watch. Joshua whistled. I'll give him credit. He actually stayed standing. Male just scoffed, plopping back onto the bench. Whatever. Up on the big screen, new challenge matches were being announced. Aurora leaned forward, stretching her arms. All right, who's up next? I'm in the mood to break someone's bones. Joshua cracked his neck. Let's see if anyone's dumb enough to challenge me. Adam, still leaning back, closed his eyes. He didn't care about the rankings. He didn't care about the challenges. All he cared about was finding someone worthy of his time. A loot. And so far, no one was. Adam's personal dimension. Krozak narrowed his eyes, watching the massive clones move across the training grounds. Each one was executing techniques that sent shockwaves through the air, their power making the ground tremble. His fists clenched. This many clones. How the hell is he doing it? It's like he's got infinite mana or something, he muttered. Beside him, Wraith let out a small chuckle.
Mana?
In their world, that concept doesn't even exist. Krozak turned to him, frowning. What do you mean? They don't use energy the way we do, Wraith said, his gaze distant, as if remembering something. They just awaken their abilities and use them. No fuel. No limit. It was strange when I first arrived. I felt weaker there. Like the world itself was suppressing me. Krozak's expression hardened. So you're saying Adam beat you while you were weakened? Wraith shook his head.
No.
Adam fought me at my full strength. If I had let my guard down, even his father could have beaten me back then. But I didn't, so Adam had to step in. Krozak's eyes flickered with something unreadable as he looked back at the clones. He exhaled sharply, his forearms folding across his chest. TCH. Freaks. Wraith scoffed. Yeah, freaks. His gaze lingered on the clones, their sheer presence making the air feel heavy. Wraith smirked. And it won't stop there. His father, he'll be stepping into the open universe soon. Once he starts harnessing mana, his power's gonna skyrocket. With his abilities, it won't take long before he becomes a monarch. There's a reason they call him the Almighty. Krozak's eyes narrowed. A thought crossed his mind, and he turned to Wraith. Then what about Adam? If he and his father fought, who wins? Wraith was silent for a moment, then sighed. Right now, his father. If he went all out, Adam would lose. Krozak raised a brow. But a small grin tugged at Wraith's lips. But Adam's power grows every day. It's only a matter of time before he surpasses him. Krozak crossed his arms, his four hands tightening into fists. Heh, can't say I'm surprised. His gaze drifted back to the clones, watching them move with inhuman precision. That kid's a monster. Every time I see him, he's stronger than before. Wraith chuckled. That's just how he is. The more you think you understand his limits, the more he shatters them. He leaned back, his crimson eyes gleaming. Honestly, I doubt even he knows how strong he'll become. Krozak's expression darkened. And when he surpasses his father, what then? Wraith's smirk widened. Then we'll be looking at something this universe has never seen before. A cold silence settled between them. The weight of Wraith's words hung in the air, heavy and undeniable. Krozak exhaled sharply, shaking his head. TCH. Guess we just sit back and watch. Huh. Wraith shrugged. That's all we can do.